Hello, 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 hello. Check. Hello. Any issue? No? Sure. We are discussing some other subject. Fantastic. Kya hua? What was funny in that? It's okay. No, you have to give all the subjects. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hi. Who are you? Who are you? Intermediate? Just asking. First time in intermediate class? First time in direct tax class? Really? So that. With video off. What's your sweet name? Preet. Doesn't matter. Okay. Welcome. What made you come to the class? Sorry? Yeah, I thought someone told you that the faculty looks far more handsome physically than online, so you must try it once. Right? But that's still the truth. So ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead. Supposingly I tell you that I am doing with you the first point. So the first question is that this is the first point of what? This is the first point of what? Incomes which are deemed to be Indian incomes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the last part, last leg, last concept of our chapter, chapter number 2, that is residential status and scope of total income. Taxpayers will be divided in two categories, that is resident and non-resident. Incomes will be divided in two categories, Indian income, foreign income. Resident will pay tax on Indian income ke foreign income, global income. Non-resident will pay tax on Indian income. So we need to define what is resident, non-resident, Indian income, foreign income. We have finished the first part of the chapter, residential status. We know which assessee is resident, which assessee is non-resident, the difference between ROR or NOR, also the difference in tax treatment with respect to ROR or NOR with respect to their foreign income. Other than individual HUF, all other categories, we only have resident and non-resident. Correct? Then we move to the second part of the chapter, Indian incomes. Any income earning process has two activities. One, you have to work. Two, you have to receive your payment. If both activities are in India, obviously it is Indian income. Both activities outside India, it is foreign income. But if any one of the two activities, work done in India, money received outside, Indian income. Work done outside, money received in India, which effectively means any one of the two activities of the income earning process, if executed in India, it will be considered as Indian income. Now then, we have some incomes where you have not done anything in India. Work done outside. Payment received outside. See, if work done is in India or payment received is in India, we don't have to deem that income as Indian income. It is already Indian income. These are those incomes where your activities were done outside India, but because of some Indian connection. And I told you guys in the last class that while I am not starting the list, I still wrote the first point. Otherwise, aisa hoga that, over the weekend, I know you all don't take the subject so seriously also, but over the weekend, if you are thinking about it, the anxiety mein maroge. How can it be Indian income when nothing has happened in India? So I did tell you a little about the first point. But yes, time has come to learn incomes which are deemed to be Indian incomes. Remember one thing, when we are defining an income here in this list, it is going to be taxable for everyone. Why? Because Indian income is taxable for everyone. While this income is taxable for everyone, our target for this list is going to be RNOR, normal target. RNOR is not a very big target. The main target is going to be non-resident. Why is RNOR not a big target? Because it is existing only in two assessees, individual HUF. So the main target, the primary target of this list is going to be who, bro? Non-resident. Because it is non-resident who has to pay tax. once the income becomes Indian income. Supposingly this income was not Indian income. Supposingly this income was not Indian income. And if you are a resident, you still have to pay tax. Come on. Once you are a resident, you still have to pay tax, irrespective of your income, whether it is Indian income or foreign income. So, all throughout this discussion, at the side of your brain, remember one thing, that we are doing all this only for non-residents. For a resident, we do not need this list. Every income is going to be taxable. Who is going to be an assessee at the side of our brain? Non-residents. First income, I actually told you, I think, did I? And every time I tell you that I think I did this with you, let me tell you one thing, I know that I did it. I am just checking whether you also know. Matlab, if I ask you where did we stop in the last class, not because I want to know, but because I am checking whether you also know. Nahi samjha? So forget it. Profit on sale of asset. As y'all are new to taxation, I am calling it profit on sale of asset. One fine day, we won't be calling it profit on sale of asset. We will call it capital gain. Profit on sale of an asset which is located in India. You probably executed the whole transaction end to end outside India. Who is the person who is getting this profit? Non-resident. And the payment for this sale took place outside India. Dekho, if the payment is in India, you don't have to deem it Indian income. It is already Indian income. Wo correct hai? That means payment has taken place outside India. Everything has happened outside India, but still taxable because the location of the asset is in India, and therefore the land of this country has generated the profit for you. Let us take an example. Supposingly there is a company, Apple Incorporation. Apple. I do have some crazy fans here. Okay. There is another company, Google Incorporation. Both tech giants. There is an international tech conference going on in a country called Russia. And because it is a very, very big conference, so we have attendance from all tech giants. So Apple, of course, is being represented by its CEO, Tim Cook. If you don't know who is the CEO of Apple, Mr. T, Mr. X, you can write whatever. This is an example at the end of it. Of course. So Google will be represented by Acha pata hai. Very good. Sundar. With Sundar? Pichai. Quite a few Sundars around. Pichai. Of course, while they are competitors, they have to be very cordial with each other publicly. I have quite a few pan-India competitors, but publicly whenever we meet, yesterday we had a flagship event, a big event. It was the annual foundation day of the Jain CA Federation, JCAF. We had roughly 1500 Jain Chartered Accountants accumulated at one place, and an excellent platform for networking. At the end of the day, this is where you're going to generate your revenue some years later. In fact, Chartered Accountancy students were also welcomed over there because you get to meet the experienced people of the profession. There were talks on wealth management, wealth creation. So it was a very big event. And when the event is going on, you can't meet people because everyone is attending and listening to the speakers. But once there is lunchtime, now it depends on your priorities. For some people, the only objective of life is they live only to eat. Don't look at each other. Don't make it so obvious. For some people, that is life objective. But then if you have common sense, during the lunch break, you should only focus on meeting people. Once the lunch break is over, the next session starts. You can then go to have your lunch and no queue also. Because everyone is done, no? Always be the last person. Nahi samjha? So forget it. So of course, we had interactions with so many professionals. Same thing they will also do. while privately they are competitors, but publicly they have to be cordial with each other. So Tim Cook and Sundar, basically they are greeting each other. Okay, hi Sundar, how are you? Sundar is like, yeah, okay, ठीक है, चल रहा है. And then Tim Cook is like, bro, what is wrong? See, you want to join Apple? What is wrong with you? क्या problem क्या है? Why are you so sad? Why are you so upset? क्या problem है? So Sundar basically shared his story. Sundar said that we, Google Incorporation, own a property in a city called Bangalore, tax city. That same city which never wins IPL, and if it wins, it kills people. We are talking about any RCB fan here? RCB, are you not ashamed of yourself? But in case you are. Acha, एक second. This brings us to an important question. For a moment, imagine RCB without Virat Kohli. Are you still RCB fan? If no, that means you are not an RCB fan. You are a Virat Kohli, and it is okay to be a Virat Kohli fan because he is a national icon. He has contributed a lot to the country's sport. So Virat Kohli ka fan hona is acceptable. But if you are RCB fan, even now, that means there is something wrong, and especially because you are in Mumbai, there is something wrong with you. Don't take it as a personal comment, but how can? So this is that. Till last year, if you watch any of my recording, I actually used to call it RCB. But abhi nahi, last year also we had to stop because RCB women's team won the IPL much before. In case you are following whatever is happening. But theek hai, matlab they have a property in Bangalore. It's a tech city. So Google did what? When they were expanding their business in India, at that time they wanted a proper office. So they have purchased prime location pe a massive building. And now Sundar is worried about that building. Sundar is sharing his problem with Tim Cook. He is saying that, sir, we had purchased this property in Bangalore, in India, on plans of expansion. Unfortunately, the moment we purchased, COVID came. After COVID, it was, like a virtual shutdown for a couple of years. Thereafter, when work resumed also, most people working in technology-based companies prefer to work from home. In fact, their traveling time is saved, so they input more hours. We as employers are very happy. And now this office is of no use. An immovable property ka one problem, I must tell you, that if it is locked, if it is shut for very long, it will become a depreciating asset. You have to continuously use it for maintenance purposes, otherwise it becomes a depreciating asset. And now, Sundar is sharing his problem with Tim Cook. He is saying that, sir, it is such a massive property that it is difficult to sell it. Small properties get sold very easily because of cost difference. No, property ka cost depends on the size. It's a very big property. It is difficult to sell, and it is difficult to rent it out also, because the bigger the property, the higher will be the rent or selling price, and someone should be able to afford that. So what to do with this property? It has become, we purchased it as an asset, but it has become a liability for us. The immediate reaction of Tim Cook was, kya baat kar raha hai, bro? We are actually, Apple is expanding. He is now trying to make him jealous. Apple is expanding. That in one day we opened 2 stores. Afternoon mein he opened a store in Mumbai, evening mein he opened a store in Delhi. You are aware of this story, no? In between he had a vada pav with Madhuri Dixit. So we are looking for some property in Bangalore. Can you share the details of this property? Who is talking to whom? Tim Cook with Sundar Pichai in Russia. So Sundar Pichai opened Google Map. And he was like, bro, your company is bigger than mine or smaller than mine is a separate discussion. But Apple Maps, you never trust. I am telling you very, very, every person with an Apple device has Google Maps, I think, downloaded. Because Apple Map will show you a way from South Mumbai to Kandivali via Ghatkopar. Apple Maps are crazy. They can do anything. Never trust Apple Maps. Never blindly trust Google Maps also. Broken bridge they show you and then people fall. But Apple Maps they are never accurate. So Sundar basically showed him the Google location. He showed him a video of the entire property, and basically Tim Cook he's like, kitna chahiye bol, how much? Sundar quoted an amount. They entered into an agreement, did the deal. Tim Cook made payment, means Apple Incorporation made payment to Google Incorporation there only, and the transaction was executed. Coincidentally, Sundar was carrying the keys in his pocket. He said, take this property is yours from today. Basically, this property in Bangalore is sold by Google to Apple in an agreement done in Russia. Payment made in, that means, let me list down the facts of this case. One non-resident selling a property to another non-resident. Seller is Google, buyer is Apple. But NR to NR, agreement took place. Where? Outside India. Payment took place. This is very important. Let us understand. Supposingly, if the payment was done in India, by chance Tim Cook insists that fair enough, I like the video location, everything, but I want to physically visit. And you come with me, if I like the property, then only I will pay. So if they by chance come to India and the payment happens in India, then it is not deemed Indian income, it is Indian income. You don't have to deem it. Payment in India means it is Indian income. Do you understand that? Hello? That means this transaction may, everything has happened where? Outside India. Hello? But the asset is located in India, and therefore the profit is being generated in this land, and therefore the profit of Google. Who is earning the profit here? Profit on sale of asset. I hope you are clear. The assessee in our story is not Apple. Apple is only a buyer. Income is arising to the seller. This income is going to be deemed to be Indian income because the asset is located in India. Is that clear, everyone? So now we have some idea that even if there may be a transaction which is end-to-end executed outside India, there can possibly be some Indian connection. You understood the connection here? Fantastic. Point number 2 of which list? Deemed to be Indian incomes. Rent of an asset. This is incomplete. If you have some common sense, I perceive you as intelligent people. Abhi, isme you don't counter me with a question. Sir, you are taking 2 batches right now, back to back. Between them and us, who is better? Please don't draw those comparisons. Okay? For me, every classroom, every student is same, irrespective of your caste, community, creed, religion, or gender. For me, everyone is same. So, you have to show your intelligence. Try to complete this. Kya lagta hai? What do you think? Located in by chance the amount discussed between Tim Cook and Sundar, they don't come to a conclusion. You know, there is a difference of opinion as far as the market value of the property is concerned. The Tim Cook gives another counter offer. Bola, theek hai, I don't want to buy. You want to give it on rent. Sundar is so happy with that also. His problem is that the property is lying vacant, idle. He's like, no problem, take it on rent. There is not much negotiation. They agree. Non-resident to non-resident, agreement outside India, payment outside India, transaction executed end to end outside India, but the asset, the property is located in India, and consequently the income will be deemed to be Indian income. Is that clear? Remember, in all the examples or in all the points that we are doing, 2 things. One, the receiver of income has to be non-resident, because if the receiver of income is resident, we are not concerned about whether it is Indian income or foreign income. And second, the payment has taken place outside India, because if the payment takes place in India, again we don't have to deem any income as Indian income. It is already by default Indian income. Correct hai? Chalo. Third income. Dividend that you have received from an Indian company. Dividend received from, dividend is share of profit to shareholder. First of all, if you and me are shareholders, being residents, we are shareholders of whether Indian company, foreign company, domestic, non-domestic, we have to pay tax. One thing is for sure, that the shareholder in this transaction is, come on, non-resident, and he has received the money outside India. However, the income is being paid from an Indian company, and therefore it is going to be deemed to be Indian income. The source of your income lies in a company which is making profits here, and therefore this income is going to be taxable for the non-resident. In other words, if a non-resident invests in any Indian company and receives a share of profit in the form of dividend, the non-resident is liable to pay tax in India. ये clear है? Next, gift. First of all, I think I did tell you when I started your syllabus in the first lecture introduction that once upon a time there used to be gift tax act separate, but they abolished the gift tax law altogether, and they inserted gift as a part of income tax law only, in the sense that think about yourself as receiver of gift. Is that income? Is that inflow of something? Yes. So it will be considered as your income, taxable under income tax act. Is that clear? This time the gift is being received by RNOR or NR. Because if the receiver of gift is resident, yeah, ROR, so we don't have to deem it. Even if it is foreign income, it is taxable. Secondly, the receiver has received the gift outside India. If the gift is received in India, again it is already Indian income, you don't have to deem it. So what was happening? Okay, what was happening? This whole point was introduced in two parts. This was introduced in 2019 budget. This was introduced in 2023 budget. Of course, for your syllabus, 25 is applicable. So none of them are latest amendments. They are old. They are a part of the old law now. Supposingly your relative comes to India, or any person you know comes to India, your friend from a foreign country, and you give some gift here. Is the receiver going to pay tax on that? Yes, because the transaction has taken place in India. It becomes Indian income, taxable for everyone. So people use their brain. Tell your friend, I will not give you any gift here. Wait for me to come to your country, and I will give you gift when I come to your country. That means we will be able to escape taxation? Not anymore. If a resident is giving any gift, if a resident is giving any gift to whom? RNOR or NR, it is going to be taxable even if the transaction was done outside India. Okay, don't be confused. Some are like, yes, sir, so in India hoga to not taxable. Bro, in India hoga to you don't have to deem it because it is already Indian income. Sir, resident, so you're saying only taxable for RNOR or NR. So resident and ordinary resident, it will be exempt, sir. No, bro. This is wish list. We don't have to deem those incomes as Indian income because they are without deeming also taxable. ROR is receiving, without deeming it is taxable. Transaction is in India, without deeming it is taxable. Do you understand? This transaction, if we don't put it here, then it won't be taxable, and we want to make it taxable. So kya? Deem it to be Indian income. So any gift that is given to non-residents, even if the transaction has taken place outside India, but if the giver is a resident, so the income will be taxable in India. Is that understood? Next, income in the form of salary. You know, last class, I think one of the students asked me a question after the class. In deemed to be Indian incomes, I wrote the first income. I did not explain it. I just said that only to control your anxiety, which also I assumed that over the weekend you will be thinking about taxation. I know I am stupid to make such assumptions. कुछ भी सोचता है कि we have so many better things to do in life. What makes you think that we are going to think about your subject? Sometimes we don't even think about the subject when it is going on, when direct tax ka class is going on, we are discussing FM doubts with each other. नहीं तो क्या था? Accounts का doubt. And you are thinking that during the weekend we will think about your subject. But I assume बोला ना. Therefore, I told you about that first income asset located in India. But I think one of the students asked me, sir, in this sale of asset, nobody works. No? Think about it. Is that not a passive source of income? You don't have to work for it. There is only one transaction payment. Then normally income earning process will have two activities. Yeah, work done, money received. But in sale of asset, rent of asset, dividend, in all the incomes that we have seen in this the list so far, you generally don't see anybody working. You had asked, no? नहीं, किसी ने तो पूछा था. You had asked, or maybe that guy is absent. Maybe. But you understand, in these incomes, there was no work involved. There was only payment. And all the cases payment took place, come on, outside India. But because there was some Indian connection, we deemed it to be Indian income. Now, as far as income in the nature of salary is concerned, do you agree here there will be work as well as payment? So let's be clear. Work done outside India. Payment received outside India. The receiver is non-resident. You can write RNOR also, but our main target is non-resident. That means, do you realize everything has happened outside India? Salary as an income normally will accrue the place where you work. Think about it. Wherever you work will be the place which is giving rise to your salary income. But in this case, the work was done outside India. Matlab, all throughout there is no Indian connection, clearly. But twist in the story is this. This salary is paid by? Nah. See, Indian company ka foreign branch, if it is paying, then that will be foreign income only controlled from India. That can't be Indian income. Nahi. Chalo, I am happy that you are guessing. So let the story go on. By a foreign company from India. That means payment has happened in India. Nah. Foreign company having a, तो वही हुआ ना? No. Let all your answers be wrong. I really, it is okay, because that one thing which is making me feel good about you people is that you all are trying. Inter students normally are not bothered only. They're like, we will see whether you are right. Trust issues. No? You want to try? I don't mind waiting. Government of India. Paid by government. Paid by government. And now that you have given this answer, I have a cross question for you. Okay, what nonsense are you talking, sir? Payer is government of India. And that guy is working where? Outside India. How can government of India pay someone? If you are paid by government, if government is paying you salary, that means you are a government employee. You are a government employee. If you are a government employee, how are you working outside India? This was not a surprise. This I expected you to give. Yes, example, embassy employees. And for those who don't have idea about it, because I will not assume that you know things. So let me be clear that just like every country has an embassy in India, we have US consulate, we have ye aapke HR college ke samne there was this one embassy. There is Indian embassy in every country. So as an Indian, if you are in a foreign country and you are in any kind of trouble, the first place that you approach is Indian embassy. The people working in those employees are employees of the people working in those embassies are employees of Indian government. So while their place of work is outside India, obviously payment also they are receiving outside India. So income earning process outside India. Acha, let me also tell you they are non-residents. Why, sir? They don't come to India. They are working over there full year. So non-resident, work done outside India, money received outside India, but government of India wants tax. And therefore the salary will be deemed to be Indian incomes. Anyone has government employee at home? Mama is not considered home. Maybe your mamas are good. If you come and meet my mama, you will say, bro, Kans was Devta. Kans was the best possible person on the planet. In case you meet my mamas. To each his own. No? No one else? No? Later in our syllabus, I am going to make one statement again and again, especially when I do that chapter income from salary, that government employee in our country takes birth by maza marne ko, to enjoy life. Must go to office at 12 o'clock, lunch break till 2, then till 4 if they want to work, they'll work. Otherwise, just like a CA student, kal se pakka. Confirm. Government employees, they chill, bro. They enjoy life. For a change, this time, taxation mein they don't have any benefit. Even if they are working outside India, they have to pay tax on that salary. This salary is going to be deemed to be Indian income. Best example is embassy employees. If you're talking about raw agents, etc., you spoke about raw agents, but you know they are undercover. So how their salary is being paid, no one knows. But in case, yes, that also will be deemed to be Indian income. Next, point 6. In which list? Incomes which are deemed to be Indian incomes. Correct? Hai? If you have your business in India, if you have set up your business in India, it will be considered as Indian income. See, what do you mean by business? You have set up an office for the purpose of raising finance, making investments, marketing of your products. The couple of activities which are not happening in India are what? The sale is not happening in India. Understand why? Because if the sale is happening in India, guess what? It is not deemed to be Indian income. It is Indian income. The payment that you are receiving is not happening in India. Because if payment is received in India, again it will not be deemed to be Indian income. It is an Indian income. So basically payments are being received outside India. Supposingly you set up a factory for manufacture of bottles here in India. You believe that these bottles have a good market in Germany. So what you do is manufacture the bottles in India. So all your business decisions, raising of finance, administration, costing decisions, marketing of your bottle, everything is happening in India. But what you do is put your bottles in a box, give it to your employees, your sales employees, and send them to Germany. Tell your employees, Germany mein you have to go door to door, knock, bottle chahiye. The employees will execute the sale transaction outside India, sell the bottle, receive the payment, come back to India. That means your sale transaction is happening outside India, but all other decisions are being done in India. Then that income will be deemed to be Indian income. If you have a business in India, then that business generating any profit irrespective of the place of generation of profit. Of course, you may have some sales in India also. If you have some sale of bottles in India, that is by default Indian income. But if you have sale of bottles outside India also, it will be considered as Indian income because your business is set up in India. So any business that is set up in India, any profit generated from that business will be considered as Indian income, deemed to be Indian income with a couple of exceptions. So they have given a couple of exceptions here. First of all, please understand that if I fall in this exception, that means the income that I am earning is not Indian income. Do you understand? Normally, if I set up my business in India, any profit generated by that business from India or outside India is going to be considered as Indian income. However, in these two cases, it won't be considered as Indian income. Case 1. If that office is set up only for purchase activity, only for purchases, that means you are not doing your manufacturing here, you are not doing your administration, your finance, you are not doing any activity here. You are coming from a foreign country. Let's change our example. You are a German company. Your employees come to Indian markets to buy these bottles. You are not manufacturers, you are traders. Buy these bottles at really ridiculous prices from the Indian markets, and sell it in the Germany market in that currency, euros mein sell. Massive margin. So your whole activity in India is restricted to, confined to only purchasing. You come to India, purchase and go away. No administration in India, no management in India, no marketing in India, no activity has been done in India that can't be considered as a business setup in India. Only purchase activity, no other activity cannot be, will not be considered as business in India. And sir, logic kya? See, if you want logic, there's logic behind everything. Answer a stupid question. When does income arise? When you purchase or when you sell? Very smart. When you sell. So if your activity involves a sale, then we can say the income is generated in India. But if your activity is only purchases, we can't consider it as Indian income. And there is some government intention also. Think about that also. Supposingly we make this Indian income, what will be the impact? So you understand 360 degrees of all the provisions in the law. Supposingly we make this Indian income. So what is the impact? It will become taxable. And if it becomes taxable, they will stop coming to India for purchasing. Poor guys, the sellers who are selling here will lose that market. And plus, if they are coming for purchasing, they are coming with their foreign currency. So we are more than happy. Come here for purchasing, purchase and go away. Sales you make outside. Because sales if you do in India, then it will be obviously Indian income. But sales you do outside, do everything outside. We won't make your income taxable in India. We are happy about the fact that you are purchasing things in India with your foreign currency. And the sellers in India, think about that. The sellers who are selling this to you, they are going to pay tax in India. So we are happy with that. We are happy with the foreign currency. And therefore, we have to grant you this immunity only for purchasing. Then it won't be considered as business in India. Make sense now? Saying all the management decisions, everything is taken in India. Depend correct. It can be all, it may not be made. The fact that we want to enter into bottling business. How to decide that? And second, as far as poem is concerned, because there was lack in clarity, there was no clarity about what is a big decision or small decision. So percentage of turnover, percentage of profit, number of employees, board meetings, asset ka ratio, all that criteria will make poem. So it may not be a poem in India. See, agar poem in India hai, so the assessee will become resident. Assessee will become resident. And once assessee becomes resident, then Indian income, foreign income doesn't matter, no. Samjha? Okay. Second, if you are coming to India only for collection of data or news, only for collection of data or news, yeah, you are coming to India only for shooting. Oh, Salman Khan fans. Look. Shooting of cinematographic films. English. Next time when someone is asking you where are you going, don't say picture dekhne. Picture means photograph. No one looks at a photograph for 3 hours. Film, movie. Technical term is cinematographic film. Movie. Picture nahi. Two different cases. Let's discuss them one by one. Let's talk about coming to India for the purpose of collection of data or news. Whenever any global event takes place in India, something as simple as G20 summit, something as simple as just before COVID, 1 month before COVID, there was a grand event in India called Namaste Trump. By the way, at that time, Trump was only the president. 2020 mein, I think Biden aaya, and then 24 mein again Trump. What on earth was going on in the brains of Americans, we don't know, but we have Trump back. So 2020 mein that event, Namaste Trump, and it was in Ahmedabad. I don't know whether you are aware. I was in Ahmedabad that day coincidentally because my batch was going on in Ahmedabad, and crazy, not a single hotel available. Thankfully, because I had been going for so many years, so I had my fixed hotel, and that guy, it was not possible for him to say no to me. In fact, same thing happened again at the time of Cricket World Cup final. Not a single hotel room available. And again, I called that guy, bro, I don't know anything. That if India wins, so you will have to give me that night also. And if India loses, at least one day prior, I am coming. So subah na dho ke at least you give me. Otherwise, the manager, every hotel, the managers have their own rooms, especially the night duty wala. I said, tere room mein jaake nahi. With that much right I had over him, because I used to stay at least 3-4 months in a year in his hotel. It was like my second home for 5-6 years continuously. World Cup final के अंदर भी world media was here. Now think about it. That media comes for one day, takes all the news and prints it, publishes it in their own newspapers or TV channels in their country. So their activity in India was only restricted to collection of news, article, videos maybe, and they transmit it to their bosses in their country, and publication happens over there. You must know this. Every leading newspaper of our city will start with front page, they will give masala news. Inside they will have city news, country news, but there will be one page for international news. And most weird news is always printed. France में एक lady ने एक साथ 7 बच्चों को जन्म दिया. Stupid news is printed on that particular page. International news का एक page भी है. So likewise, will there be a page of international news in New York Times or London Times maybe? Will we want them to print stories of what is happening in India? So for that, their employees will have to come to India, collect data, collect the news, and then the printing, the publication part will happen in their country. So that way in India, they are not doing any income generating activity. In India, their activity is restricted to only collection of. And now if we make this taxable in India, then people will not come to India for collection of news. Think about it. My question is, do we want the world to know what is happening in India? Irrespective of your political inclination, we are living in a democracy and we have the right to vote for a leader whom we like. And you don't like a particular leader, next time vote for someone else. As simple as that. Democracy means that only. One thing everyone has to agree. Today, India's digital payment system is the most advanced in the world. You have to agree with it. We can make digital payments by scanning a QR code. By the way, if you have ever told a shopkeeper, uncle scanner do, that is stupidity on your part, because uncle ke paas QR code hai. Scanner is your phone. Too deep, no? Your phone is scanning it, so your phone is the scanner. You have to say uncle QR code. But you know that uncle won't understand, so better ye uncle scanner. Tididing, we do Google Pay as if actually Google is paying. For 1 month, try stop using UPI and try using cash for 1 month. Try not to buy anything from quick commerce companies like Zepto, Instamart, Blinkit, and see the massive change in your expenses, personal expenses, within 1 month. If Amazon is giving you 40% discount on something, if it is selling you something worth 1000 at 600, you have not saved 400, you have spent 600. Too deep, no? Nahi samjha? For best savings, delete Amazon, Flipkart both. Uninstall. But do we want the world to know? See, believe me, I have traveled to a lot of countries and I have seen that even in the developed countries, most developed countries, you have to carry your credit cards to malls, marketplaces, supermarkets. Of late, I think they have started using UPI. So 2 years ago, I traveled to a company, to a country, developed country. There was no UPI over there. Last year, I traveled to another country. They are like, now we have started using little bit of Google Pay. They are still trying to understand. I don't know whether you are aware. Sometime back, France का president, what is the name? Macaroni के Masaloni, Macron, Emmanuel, ऐसा ही कुछ नाम. Very difficult to pronounce. That guy had come. Modi ji took him to a tea shop. They had some tea, and then Modi ji was showing, देखो, in India we make payments by scanning QR codes. अरे वो ऐसे स्कैन करके, रिमोट कंट्रोल नहीं, तो ऐसे मोबाइल में ही मेड पेमेंट. Are you aware? Modi ji was showing France का president how India is using technology. Modi ji is next level, bro. He sat with Bill Gates and he was showing how to use Microsoft. Modi ji was teaching Bill Gates how to use Microsoft Windows. Modi ji. But point is, do we want the world to have this news? You know, Modi ji is a revolutionary leader that way. He has proved there is no age of falling in love. At any age, you can fall in love with someone of any age. Bro, if I count their age gap, Modi ji and Milani ka age gap is 28 years. Now, somewhere if I take my age and minus 28, the thoughts make me feel disgusting. I said, jail jayega bro, kya soch bhi kaise sakta hai? And bro, you don't count because you minus 28 negative mein. Minus mein chal raha hai. Hi Vansh. Minus mein chal raha hai bro. Where have you been bro? Nowhere. ये क्या होता है? चलो, fair enough. सुनो, just imagine if it materializes between them, the amount of windows it will open, because every Indian household there is one uncle who is a Modi fan, and that uncle is that way against interfaith marriages. But now you have to go and tell that uncle आपके मोदी जी कर सकते तो, then we are also allowed. Look at the amount of options he is opening for you. But do we? Some are excited. हाँ यार ये. Thank you for letting us know, sir. आज ही घर पे जाके बात करेंगे. Bro, you all are CA students. Hashtag forever single. It is not going to happen. Let me make it very, very clear. It is not going to happen. The only way in which you can make it happen is make yourself so capable, so capable. Bro, today you approach, her or her father. What do you have in you that he will say yes or she will say yes? But 5 years later, when you tell them, I am a chartered accountant, this is what I am earning, this is me, completely self-dependent, you have, increased the probability of getting a yes. So, if for keeping that in mind, only focus on this. Stop going out of town. Because this is going to make your career wherever you were, whatever be the reason. I am not interested in knowing. It may be personal. It can't be more important than this. If someone has, for example, died, believe me, even if you don't go, cremation hoga. He won't say, nahi, main nahi chalega. Challenge. If someone is getting married, try not going and checking. Try if they stop their marriage just because you are not there. Nahi hoga. They will get married and go away. You will be stranded. You will be, losing the syllabus that is being taught to you. Nothing else can be, should be, will be your priority for the next few months, for the next few years. Your hard-earned family money is paid to be here in this class. It is very difficult to earn money. Believe me, it is very difficult to earn money. Nothing else should be your priority. Samjha? But the point is, we are talking. Come back to Modi ji. Bola, sir, don't be personal with me. Modi ji ka baat. You understand that we want the world to know what is happening in India. For that, we need to welcome those news reporters. But if we make that income taxable in India, then those reporters won't come to India. So let's not make it Indian income, deemed to be Indian income. And likewise, if we talk about shooting of cinematographic films, a lot of foreign films, Hollywood ka films ka shooting does take place in India. Every time they want to show poverty, they want to show slums. Abhi America mein slums kaise? So they have to. Slumdog Millionaire ka shooting took place. Arey, sometime back Mission Impossible ke shooting ke liye that guy had come. Kya naam hai uska? Tom Cruise. He had come to India. Idhar Colaba Causeway mein he was doing shooting. You are aware? Because poverty ka natural view they'll get without creating a set. They'll get here, no. But what do? They just shoot the film and they leave. See, if they release the film in India, the collection or the profit made in India will be taxable. But if the activity is restricted to shooting of films, then we can't consider it as Indian income. We can't consider it as a business setup in India. Is that clear? Income from business in India. Liaison office के लिए there is a condition. There is a chapter CA final में miscellaneous provisions, which says that if you are only a liaison office in India, you have to give in writing a form भर के to the income tax department about what exact activities you are doing. Because liaising is a wide term. Simple translation of liaising is maintaining public relations, creating awareness about your brand. But the point is that activity of the liaison office in India contributing to the income earning process? So you have to fill up a form, give the exact details of your activity in India. With that, we will be able to decide whether it is contributing to business in India or no. It will depend from situation to situation, fact to fact, assessee to assessee, on the basis of किस level का activity you are doing in India. Clear है? On the basis of the form that we are submitting. So to the extent the profit is made in India, it will be taxable. But will Mission Impossible be released worldwide? Come on. And क्या नहीं? तो क्या इंडिया में बनेगा? So will they be having profits worldwide? We can't make that income as deemed to be Indian income. समझा? Just because the shooting was done in India. Correct? So shooting will not contribute to Indian income, but the actual transaction done in India will be Indian income. Correct? They are doing work in India. Who? इसके ऊपर ना थोड़े टाइम के बाद में there will be one more concept in a, and when I say one more concept, it won't be in this chapter. There is a chapter called exempt income. In the chapter exempt income, there is a concept that if you have come for these many days, it won't be considered as it won't be taxable. Number of days का restriction है, because if someone is coming for 1 day or 2 days and going away, you may never know that anything is taxable in it. So अगर वो days cross किया तो ये user photos का salary will be taxable, because then it will become taxable. हाँ, we are talking about the reporters. Having said that, when they are coming for doing local work, something like shooting of a cinematographic film, so they will be having a lot of local youth also employed. No? Local support लगेगा ना? That youth is resident, so their salaries are going to be taxable. Correct? हाँ. The news reporters, if they stay for more than that number of days, so the income won't be exempt; it will become taxable because their work is being done in India. Same with the film workers. Yes. ये clear है? Point number 7. In which list, bro? What happened? Deemed to be Indian incomes. We are talking about income in the nature of interest. For interest, first of all, you need to understand is that again it is an investment income. It is a passive source of income. In interest, you don't work, your money works. Digest this statement because this statement will explain taxability of interest income in our country. In interest, you don't work, your money is working. Correct? First of all, what do you mean by interest income? When does interest income arise? Investor? Your money somewhere. वो तो डिविडेंड भी है. When you have invested, when you have a deposit with bank. Only bank. वो एग्जाम्पल है. डिवेंचर बॉन्ड्स एग्जाम्पल. Borrowings, loans, example. हाँ, go ahead. The time value of money that you receive for keeping your money somewhere. ठीक है. Compensation for usage of funds in any form. So all the things that you said, bank loans will get covered here, bank deposits will get covered here, any kind of loan will get covered here, debenture bonds will get covered here, or maybe time value of money, everything will get covered here. When one person is using money belonging to other, funds belonging to other, do you realize the user of funds? I am avoiding the word borrower because when you put your money in a bank account, bank is not a borrower, it's a deposit. But is the bank still using your funds? So instead of using terms like lender, borrower, I am using generic term. The user of money is going to pay interest to the owner of funds, owner of money. Do you agree and understand? First of all, income belongs to this person. So we are discussing taxation for this person, and this person is a non-resident. Had this person been a resident, we are not wasting our time in discussing Indian income. Second, the payment of this interest took place because if the payment has taken place in India, we don't have to deem it to be Indian income, it is already Indian income. Is that clear? Now the twist in the story is, we will go and check when is he using my funds, because his place of usage of funds will decide his taxability. In interest income, money is working. His usage of money is resulting in his interest income. Do you agree with this statement? So if he is using money in India, that means your interest is arising in India. Because here you are not working. Who is working? Money is working. So where is your money working? If money is working in, that means it is Indian income, and if it is Indian income, it is going to be taxable for non-resident also. So let us see what do they say. You go and check. If the user of funds is government, if the user of funds is government, full stop, it will be considered as Indian income. That means we are assuming that if government is using your money, it will use in India. See, normally we specify if he is using money in India, so it will be considered as Indian income. But in government, we are not doing that. In government, what are we saying? It is assumed that if government is using my funds, it will be using where? In India, and therefore it will be considered as Indian income. So if money is used by government, if the borrower is government, then it will be always considered as Indian income. In other words, in short, whenever government of India takes loan from any non-resident, so government will pay interest. That interest will be considered as Indian income and taxable for that non-resident. You understood or no? And for this reason, in CA final, we have a chapter called Special Rates of Tax, under which they have given a very, very low rate of tax compared to normal Indian tax rates. Normal Indian tax rates can go to as high as 30-35%. Foreign companies ka India mein tax rate is 35%. But for these transactions, a concessional rate of 5%, 4%, such a concessional rate is prescribed. In fact, if by chance there is a double taxation avoidance agreement between India and that, I had discussed that with you, double taxation avoidance agreement. If we have a DTAA between the two countries, as per that DTAA, that already lower rate can be further reduced also. So yes, government is going to take some tax, but it is going to be a very, very low rate of tax. And if by chance that guy is not happy with that also, so increase the rate of interest, so that after tax also he is satisfied, in case you are desperately in need of funds. Now, if our government maintains cordial relations, sometimes our government manages to get interest-free loans also. For example, for the bullet train project, we got a loan from Japan at a moratorium. Moratorium English simple translation is that there won't be any interest for, I think, 15 or 20 years. Interest will start after that. So they are happy to give us like that also. Obviously interest nahi hoga to there is no question of tax, correct? But still it is not good for our economy. You know why? The current prime minister or chief minister ends up taking that loan, 20,000 crore, 30,000 crore, whatever be that amount. You know why? He knows I am there only for 5 years, maybe another 5 years. Repayment will come after 20 years. But we are already exposing our 20 years later the prime minister or chief minister to that burden he has to repay that 20 years. And that is what happened in, the last 60-70 years in our country. Unnecessary borrowings were taken from foreign countries where repayment has to be done, today, because sitting guy has got no problem. He has to just give a commitment. Once government commits, the future prime minister will have to fulfill that commitment. And those foreign governments are happy to give that money because they know future may we will recover. Okay. So in case they are unhappy with the tax that you are levying, we will increase the rate of interest. Correct? Second, the borrower of interest is the borrower of loan, the payer of interest, the user is a resident. Now understand please. If he is a resident, where does he normally live? In India. That means it is assumed that he is using your money in India, correct? But is it possible that sometimes he is outside India? Because residents also don't stay in India all throughout the year. Is it possible that during that period when he was outside India, at that time he has used your funds? That means your interest is not Indian income. So they have specified resident except if the funds were used outside India. In short, if the funds are used in India, then only it will come in the list of deemed to be Indian incomes. If the funds are used outside India, it won't be deemed to be Indian income. Make sense now? So in case of government, we are assuming that it is used in India, but in case of others, only if used in India. Ye clear hai? Third, now this is slightly surprising, but if you are people with good knowledge, common sense, which I believe you are, don't prove me wrong. One non-resident is paying interest to another non-resident. NR to NR. Payment also outside India. NR to NR payment outside India. Bro, how can that be Indian income? What rubbish are you talking? You want to try? Only if, because non-resident also sometimes can come to India for some number of days, certain number of days. During that period, if the funds were used in India, during that period, if the funds were used in India, outside India, kaise Indian income hoga? During that period, if the funds were used in India, you wrote it, everyone, those who are taking notes. Didn't you observe something? You also left that space. When you attend one lecture, bunk another, then one day come to the other branch, third day you come online, no? Then things like these happen. Have some other students maintained the gap? 100% attendance? You've attended all the lectures? See, that's the difference. Because those who attend all lectures now, by now they have understood me. And they know that if he has left some gap, Daya, kuch to gadbad. There's something dark in the lentil. English? Arey, dal mein kuch kala hai. Sobo, no. नहीं, don't guess. Don't guess, because whatever you guess will be wrong. I'll tell you the reason. Income tax law is a beautifully written law. There is logic behind everything in the income tax law, which can be explained with reasons. But there are some single digit situations in the law where the law has been illogical, and two such situations are in this chapter. One I already told you, while checking residential status of HUF, we were examining Karta. And at that time only I told you the second situation will come in the same chapter, where the law is illogical. And if it is illogical, the common sense that you are using will not help you. Dekho, anything which is logical, you think with common sense you will get the correct answer without knowing the law. But I am telling you it is illogical. They are saying only if the funds are used for business in India. Which is wrong, rubbish, nonsense. Because we don't borrow funds only for business. That means from a non-resident, if I have taken a loan, another non-resident, and I have used that money for buying a house in India, for buying a car in India, personal loan, is that money still being used in India? That means the interest is being generated in India. So फिर receiver non-resident का interest should be taxable. But we are not making it taxable. We will make it taxable only if the borrower non-resident is using the money in India for the purpose of business profession, which is wrong. Ideally, it should be for any reason. Once the funds are used in India, it should be considered as Indian income. This is illogical. But think about it. Is it taxpayer friendly? Yes. Think about it. Because only funds used for business will be taxable. Funds used for other purposes will not be taxable. Anything which is favorable towards the taxpayer is logical. It is never going to be considered as illogical. As a receiving non-resident assessee, you will never go and tell the government, no, sir, it is illogical, you should take tax. But we have a problem in paying tax even when we are liable. We are Marwadis. We have a big problem in paying tax. We have a big problem. So nobody is foolish that when it is not taxable as per law, you will go and tell the government, no, sir, take tax. Effectively, it means, kya bro? Kya? It is illogical. Logical law should be used for Any purpose in India? You understood the second illogical point in this chapter? And totally there are, about 8, 9, 10 such cases in the income tax law. They will soon be rectified. You know when? That day, nahi, pura bolna. That day when I become the finance minister of the country, very soon, it is a matter of time. Talks are going on. Announcement can come at any time. I will still complete your batch. Pakka, promise. Everyone is clear? What is that illogical part? So, effective mein, as long as the funds are used in India, the receiver ka income is going to be taxable in India, except the last case where non-resident should use the money in India only for the purpose of business. Ye clear ho gaya? Sure. Next, income in the nature of royalty. What do you know about the term royalty, except that some years ago there was a nightclub in Bandra, royalty. I think that shut down. Uski jagah pe another place called Drop. Drop also closed, no? Pata nahi. Really? Kya, bro? Our generation should know these things better than anybody else. तो और क्या 60 ईयर का गाय विल गो क्या वहां पे? नहीं, 60 ईयर ओल्ड विल प्रीफर किशोर कुमार सॉन्ग. हाँ तो ठीक है भाई, तू भी 75 होके जाना. सॉरी, मेरी गलती. आई आर्ग्यूड विथ यू. सॉरी. ओके. In any case, it is not that royalty. Do you know about what is royalty? What do you mean by the income royalty? So try that, because see, tax treatment of an income is one thing. What is that income? If you don't know, how can you learn tax treatment about any income? The first learn, what do you mean by royalty? What do you mean by royalty? Any input? इन्वेंशन, पेटेंट, हाँ ट्रेडमार्क, ऐसा कुछ. परम क्या बोल रहा है? कैसे भी समझा, मैं भी एग्जाम्पल के साथ ही समझाता हूं. बोल, कैमरा ऑन करके. हाँ, मैं वन डे आई एम गोइंग टू टेक द लॉगिन आईडी फ्रॉम द एडमिन, बिकॉज आई एम ऑल्सो लॉगिंग इन एज अ गेस्ट. एक बार लॉगिन आईडी मिल गया ना, ऑल दीज किड्स विथ कैमरा ऑफ, बिलीव मी, आई डोंट लेट एनी स्टूडेंट फॉर 5 minutes also. I remove them from the meet. I know you are enjoying the fact because he does not have power because host nahi hai. Nahi, I am so smart. One day what I will do is I will take my own Zoom ka package and give that to you if you want to attend online. हाँ बोल ना, ठीक है बोल. भगवत गीता लिखी है. You have written. अच्छा, एग्जाम. ओके. हाँ हाँ हाँ. परफेक्ट है. तो यू आर एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट परम, विथ सम वन एरर के आप ये नहीं बोल सकते मैंने भगवत गीता श्री कृष्ण हैज रिटन. So that is the original version is that you could have said. I will modify your example. I have understood your example to the extent that supposingly there is an author who is writing 7 books of direct taxes per annum, 5 for CA final, 2 for CA intermediate, a very popular author pan India. Okay, almost everyone knows him, and as far as South India is concerned, over 95% students are watching his lectures only. North India mein also it's a big crowd, but to a certain extent there are other people also, because the ones who speak a lot of Hindi in their class are more popular in the northern parts of the country, but which is okay. Matlab, you should focus on whatever is your forte and not try to compete with everyone on everything. Okay, so supposingly he wants to write books. He has written an excellent book. It is a guarantee that if you have studied from that book, you are exempt, but you have to solve everything. Just taking the book, sir, I took your book, now I will get an exemption. No, you have to study also, solve those questions, correct? But the author does not know how to sell. So what is he doing? He is giving his content to a publication company. That publication company is printing an selling the books, and every time a book is sold, a portion of the selling price will be paid to the author. That is royalty on copyright. You were raising your hand. हाँ right है. हाँ music, that is also royalty on copyrights. Spotify, Amazon Music, whichever platform you are. That does, but that girl is an artificial character. It is not a real character. ये whatever you saw on social media, no, पार्ले जी की गर्ल देखो अभी 90 years की हो गई है, that is rubbish. It is a fictional character. पार्ले जी वाली girl also and चुटकी. That bro, when I was 5 years old, that चुटकी का पैकेट के ऊपर it was the same picture. चुटकी पता है कि नहीं? नहीं. हाँ, I know the reason why you know about it. Mouth freshener. Whoever knows it, there is a reason behind doing it. So even if it is for 18, we pay round figure 20. Too deep, bro. नहीं कोई बात नहीं. I understood you don't go to nightclub, so ये 18-20 का gap you will not understand. What name? The thing that we buy is worth 18, but we end up paying 20. Wait back after class. You are graduate, no? So it is adult talk, but private adult talk. You wait back after class. I will explain it to you why we pay 20 when we buy something worth 18. Because chutki is involved. Mouth freshener. You don't know what is that worth rupees 18 that I am talking about? Fantastic, bro. Pogo ka subscription hai. Just asking. Chal chhod. So I must tell you, they are all fictional characters, huh, bro? But yes, if you are using the picture of a real person, did I show you my memes wala book? Yes. I'll show you one chapter from that book. अगर फटाफट मिलेगा तो I will show you. Downloads, हाँ है. Once वैसे भी you know your chapter TDS I will be doing from that chapter, मतलब that book only. हाँ ये TDS का chapter. So TDS में basically when one person makes payment to another person, payer has to deduct TDS. I'll discuss more about this with you. If for example I had to teach someone about what is TDS on salary, so I say there is an employer who is making payment of salary to his employees. So there is going to be TDS which the employer will deduct on the salary. As a throughout the book, I have used these characters. A good level of creativity has gone. Again, one of the best-selling books in the country. If they come to know I am using their images, they can sue me for copyright because these are real people. Characters which are used by a producer, they can sue me for this. If you use someone's name or brand, you have to pay them. Otherwise, they will sue you, obviously. So that is trademark, drawing, design, brand, copyright. The example which he gave, he to said Bhagavad Gita ही मैंने लिखी है, मस्त है. But you could have taken any other. We never know you are you the Kalki avatar? अरे ऐसा बोला श्री कृष्णा का मतलब भगवान विष्णु का 10th अवतार is to take birth in Kalyug. I don't know whether you are aware Shri Ram, Shri Krishna or avatars of Lord Vishnu. तो वो ऐसा बोला गया है that कल्कि अवतार will take birth in this युग कलयुग. I think maybe वो परम ही है. नहीं किधर भी हो सकता है. He is saying he wrote Bhagavad Gita. You could have taken example of any other book which is basically a copyright of the author. So when we say patent, drawing, design, brand, trademark, copyright, these are all examples. When summarized in one word, we call them royalty नहीं, compensation for usage of. बोल Be a little loud. You paid royalty to Shri Krishna. तो क्या बोल रहा है? तो रहने दे bro. You come to class in the next lecture. We will discuss about it. A better terminology is intellectual property rights. Whenever someone uses your intangible asset, that is intellectual property rights, IPR. Correct hai? So once again, there is going to be a user who is going to pay this royalty to owner. This time it is owner and user of intangible asset, IPR. Correct hai? One thing we all understand, this owner is going to be non-resident and this payment is going to be outside India. Then only deeming is required. I hope you understand. Now that you have understood the meaning of royalty, the taxation part is very, very easy. His usage will decide his taxability. Where he is using your asset will decide this taxability. Correct hai? So first, if the intangible asset is used by government, it is assumed, it is taken for granted that it will be used in India, and therefore the non-resident income will be considered as Indian income. Second, if he is resident, it is assumed he will be using in India. However, sometimes, come on. So if he has used where? Outside India, we will remove it. We won't be considering it as Indian income. Only if used in India. And what about NR to NR? Now it further makes it clear that this was illogical. Because now observe karo, now used in India for any purpose, it is going to be considered as Indian income. Do you understand? Non-resident to non-resident also, if it is used in India, it is going to be considered as, come on, Indian income. Only if used in India, obviously, for any purpose. Unlike interest income where they specified only if used for business. Clear hua? So now that illogical part is eliminated. That illogical part is only in the interest income. Ye clear hai? This, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the last point of incomes deemed to be Indian incomes. Income in the nature of fees for technical services. FTS. Fees for technical services, that is FTS. Actually, this is an Indian invention. Globally, when I am owner of any intangible asset and I get compensation, that is called royalty. And supposingly, it is not an asset, but my brain is involved. I am using some technique which my brain knows, not a patent or a drawing or a design or a brand or a copyright. I have got technical knowledge about something. So basically, it is human brain, not an asset involved. Developed countries call that also royalty. Royalty for using your brain. But India considers it as a separate income. When you are using an asset, we call it royalty. But when human brain is involved, human services are involved, it will be called fees for technical services. So there is going to be a service provider who is giving services obviously to the service receiver. Do you realize that what is going to happen is the service receiver is going to make payment of FTS, fees for technical services, to whom? Obviously the service provider. Service provider ka residential status, and the payment of FTS took place where? Then only deeming is required. And I'll tell you what, if you have really understood the last 2 points, so we are done with this. Kya? His usage will decide his taxability. So if the service receiver is 1, government, is it Indian income? Yes, full stop. We don't mention where it is used. It is taken for granted. It is assumed that it will be used in India. 2, resident, except if the services were used outside India. And 3rd, non-resident to non-resident, but only if the services were used. And again logical, the only place where they have been illogical is interest income, where they have mentioned used for the purpose of business. Otherwise, in the remaining 2 incomes, they don't have that illogical point, which makes it further ekdam clear कि yes, in interest also it should be any purpose. Is that clear? So taxability is done, but you know there is some lack of understanding in the sense that, sir, when I use someone's money, it is interest. When I use someone's intangible asset, it is royalty. To a certain extent, sir, you told us human brain is involved. We've understood. But you know what? See, human brain with a professional degree. If today I am using my brain, I will get payment. That payment is not royalty. We call it professional fees. So then what is FTS? So if I am using intangible asset, it is royalty. I am saying usage of human brain. Usage of knowledge will result in FTS. But then I am also using knowledge. My income is not FTS. It is professional fees. So what exactly is this fees for technical services? I have a small story as an example. Now, when I give you this story, you need to understand that by chance those students who are taking down notes. In short, you know, in 3-4 words, maybe one line, whatever is the summary of that story, if you also take down that, the future mein when you sit down and revise, that story will flash in your brain and you will be able to recollect what explanation I gave you for fees for technical services. This explanation will help you in other chapters also. For example, in TDS. Now we have a section TDS on FTS. So at that time, I again don't have to explain to you what is fees for technical services now that you know the meaning. Okay. What do you mean by human brain involved? Human brain without professional degree. Have you heard of a business called home inspection? Have you heard of a business called home inspection? कौन हाँ बोला? Someone said yes. You said yes. क्या है ये? Someone comes to inspect my house. कुछ भी. How do you know this? अभी यूएस जाके आया. So someone must have gone to US, because I must tell you one thing very clearly, that this business does not exist in India. I'll tell you the reason behind that also. This is a concept which happens in developed countries. India mein, we don't have the culture of this thing called home inspection. So what do you mean by home inspection? Supposingly, you are buying a house. In a city like Mumbai, if I have to buy a house with my own money, without inheritance, see, with inheritance, you can become Akash Ambani. Inheritance can make you anything. Without inheritance, if you have to make your own house or buy your own house, I have to buy my own house, I will have to first sell myself twice. एक बार में I will not generate that much. Welcome to Mumbai. Full life का savings is gone. See, one house also to purchase. चलो यार, old house sell करते हैं. Let's manage this much with bank loan. Let's manage this much by sale of some shares, some SIPs, some gold, some own cash. That is how we manage. Very difficult. And supposingly after buying that house, you realize there are defects in that house. When I first time shifted in the building where I went on rent, later I purchased there, but it was the 24th floor of the building. In a 65 floor ka building, on the 24th floor, there is rainwater ka leakage. Bro, if you are staying on the top floor, aisa hoega ki rainwater is coming. It is coming. So-called India's #1 developer loader. In every advertisement he writes, India's #1 developer. And every floor has leakage. Every floor. The quality of construction quality is very, very poor. Now your counter is so fit, sir. When you are aware of this in your rented house, why did you still buy a house in that building only? Mummy, Jain temple, khatam. Story over. Leakage है तो क्या? We will repair it. Color कराएंगे. But you go to any other luxurious high rise in the nearby locality, you won't get Jainism over there. So here you are getting luxury with religion. You'll be your own. Bro, everyone knows the condition of the building. Still there is not a single unit available for sale or rent. Despite the quality of construction. And the developer knows this. He knows that to increase the value of my building with poor construction quality also, he has one secret weapon. हाँ, ये फैक्ट है. तो लीकेज है. Just imagine someone who has spent life savings. After buying, you find there is leakage. Quality of walls is not correct. The quality of walls that Lodha has made in our building, he has used gypsum walls, not just between the bedroom walls, nahin, between two houses also. They are not walls, they are gypsum ka sheets. For those who don't know what is gypsum, I'll explain. If I kick the wall, I'll be in my neighbor's house. Of course, to which some people react, so what, sir? That's your life objective in any case. I share extremely cordial relations with my neighbor and his wife. And his wife. But what if after buying you realize about the quality of construction? Believe me, one thing you should always do is, even if a ready to move in property is 50 lakh expensive, always go for that. Check it and buy it. If you buy anything under construction, you are in trouble. Next, developers tell you that your house is 1200 square feet carpet. Bro, have you ever measured, is it 1200 square feet? Again, most developers, and the same guy who I am talking about, he'll promise 1200, he will give you 1000, 950. When you measure, then only you will find out. And after giving your life savings, how do you decide? In fact, I have another policy that if I ever propose to buy a property anywhere, I prefer a couple of years on rent over there, so that I have absolute clarity of whether it is worth going on. In my house also I did the same thing. In my office also I did the same thing. I have one office here. You are aware of a place called Thakurdwar, Kumar Tukda? Sir, live gaya. You know that kachori shop in that building? I had my own class for 6-7 years. Permanent body. 6-7 years I had my own class over there. Then that classroom was insufficient, only 50 students ka capacity. Then I moved to this classroom where we are having lectures, because I got about 80-90 ka capacity here and I had those many admissions. Post COVID, I stopped taking lectures here South Bombay almost, because most students here were online and I was taking lectures in the other parts of the city. Then about 22-23, I restarted in one of the neighboring buildings. Abhi ye mat puchna ke sir last batch tak where were you taking lectures? But I was there somewhere in South Bombay. This is your lack of knowledge if you don't know. Now that office which was earlier on rent, I know everything about that building. Now I have purchased a property over, so that it gave me clarity that it is worth buying or no. Any building issues you will come to know. But what if after buying you come to know? I am talking about that. Therefore, there will be a company which will conduct something called a home inspection. It will tell you about the quality of the roof, the ceilings, the wall, the construction quality, the carpet area. In short, the report will be like an audit report, whether you should buy the property or no. And if you are buying, what is the maximum price that you should pay? That is a business called home inspection. There is a US company called Internachi. Whether whatever be the name of the company, this company is considered as the global leader of this business. Internachi, home inspection business. So what exactly is the nature of business? My wife's brother, she has two brothers. One of them, elder one, is the, I think, richest aluminium importer in the country. He imports more aluminium than maybe the other big companies also. Second guy is a chartered accountant. So people don't take him seriously at home. But because they are business oriented family, so he also decided to enter into business, to start something of his own. He came to Mumbai from Kolkata to meet me, and he explained this business to me. He was flying to US to meet this company owners. He explained the business to me. He said कि ऐसा ऐसा है, home inspection होगा and the client will pay us roughly about 50,000 rupees. And immediately after meeting me, he was supposed to take his flight to US, and he asked me, Siddharth Ji, we are Marwadis. So in our community, it is accustomed to refer to the son-in-law as Ji. They don't mean it. Custom hai. They don't mean it. Siddharth Ji, what do you think? आपको क्या लगता है? What will be the possibility of success of this business? Every time my wife का family is asking me, आपको क्या लगता है? They have already decided. My opinion does not matter. They're just playing around with me. So if I say the same thing that they are thinking, they are going to do that only, but they will say, you said so we did. And if I say the opposite, they will change the topic and never come back to the topic again. So he explained the business and he asked, what do you think? If someone, his thought process was, if someone is buying a house worth 5-6 crore rupees, will he not prefer to spend 50,000 rupees to get it inspected so that he's sure? He asked me without the intention of knowing my answer, but I am in all genuineness, I'm asking you, what do you think? What is the probability of success of this business? 6 crore rupees I am spending. Will I spend 50,000 rupees for home inspection before buying the property? Nonsense! I said, this business is a failure. You do not think also about this business. We are living in a country called India. Indian market is ultra price sensitive. In India, when someone purchases 5 rupees ka pen from a stationery shop, multiple times he will check on the notepad, is it working or no? 5 rupees ka pen. You want 50,000. In India, when we withdraw money from ATM, we count it 5 times. ATM ka money, machine, we are counting it 5 times. Barabar. People are not going to trust you. And India mein, when a person is buying a house, believe me, irrespective of you, who you are, unless you are Ambani, Adani, Tata, Birla, that's a different thing. Whoever is buying a house is buying it beyond his budget. If my budget is 2 crore, I will like something of 4 crore. So it's a big struggle. Somehow you have to manage funds. If I have to buy a house, sell one house, sell some gold, sell some shares, take some money from my extremely rich father-in-law, somehow manage the funds. I have seen middle class family, this South Bombay ka house which my father had purchased, which we sold recently, way back in 2004. I remember of those days that we were like, now that we have purchased the house, we will, invest less money in furniture. Sofa baad mein like. 6 months later, when we are again stable. First, we had a TV only in the hall. Bola bedroom ka TVs we will bring later. Let's just keep space for it. Abhi, we don't have money. If the option was to buy a fridge or buy TV for all the bedrooms, so we had to buy the fridge and washing machine first. One TV in the hall is good enough. 6 months later, things were again normal. Chalo. Let's buy a TV for the bedrooms also. That is how Indian middle class works. And here, when the person is already struggling for funds, you want to burden him with another 50,000. This business is going to miserably fail. You want to go, your tickets are already booked. You want to go, you go, but it is going to fail. Obviously, as usual, whole family does not listen to me. So he went, and I knew it very well. He was supposed to get married 6 months later. So he basically wanted one bachelor kind of US trip. His father does not even know how much money he has. एक normal rich क्या होता है? That I know my net worth. My father-in-law does not even know how much money he has. And every time he tells me, you are not my son-in-law, you are like my son, you are like my son. I often have this temptation, time please. What do you mean by like my son? Don't be specific. Am I your son? Am I not your son? If I am your son, are you reserving 1/3 for me? Make it clear to me. I have a 4:30 alarm from first to that. I have to get up 6 months in a year. I have to get up at 4:30. Tell me now, I will shut down that alarm. I don't have to come and work for 6 hours per day if you are reserving 1/3 for me. Tell me clearly. Bro, if your father is poor, that is luck. But if your father-in-law is poor, it is stupidity. Then, to which people react by saying, what did he like in you? Bro, handsome, smart, intelligent, not in terms of books, but I know whom to talk, what is the occasion of speaking what and what not. And most important factor was a qualified chartered accountant. He is like CA daughter, so CA husband. And CA husband ka benefit will be this, that he won't be dependent on parents ka funds. Samjha Vansh? I am telling you, you have a lot to learn from me other than tax. I get paid only for tax, that is also too less. ठीक है, तो lecture के बाद. So bro, he went and that company gave him the proposal. Company said, we will make you India head of our business. Lol, he was the only employee. So India head of our business. You have to make two investments. One, you need to have your office. It can be owned or rented. It can be a very small meeting space, because you just meet clients, convince them to get a home inspection done. Most activities will be on site, no? Second, you have to buy a special camera. It is like an X-ray camera. With that camera, you have to go to the site and take pictures. Pictures of the roof, ceiling, floor area, everything. Send the pictures to the parent company in America. Everything else we will do. We will make the report, examine the pictures. We will send the report. If the client has any query, we will answer everything. Your task is to convince the client for the home inspection part. Take 50,000 from the client and remit 25,000 to us, because everything we are doing. Your investment is only camera and convincing the client. Office also may be rented or may not be an office, because these days we do everything. You can sit at home, have a meeting online with the client and directly go on site. So 50-50 ka sharing. This 50%, 25,000 that we sent to the parent company will become fees for technical services, because here they are using their brains and not a professional degree. Professional degree means professional fees. This is human brain. Fees for technical services. I know your anxiety is less about the meaning of FTS. Your anxiety is, sir, home inspection business ka hua kya? As predicted by me, a miserable failure, not a single client, because welcome to India, nobody is ready to pay 50,000. So normally they are of no use to me, my in-laws, but I made use of them as an example. In kahin na kahin to use lu na. So they have become an example. In fact, my extremely rich father-in-law will come again and again in a lot of. Every time I have to take example of a rich guy, instead of Ambani, I talk about him. So, and since the time I am taking him as example, his net worth is continuously increasing. And I tell him that it is all because of me. So you please make sure. No, again and again you say something, manifestation. So you please make sure you reserve that 1/3 for me. I am against dowry. No. But if someone is giving out of love and affection, you can't disrespect. Inheritance hai. Dowry nahi hai. So ladies and gentlemen, are you clear about home inspection and the meaning of fees for technical services? They will conduct in the sense that, is your building fit for human living? They are okay with that, no, because it is not a safety concern. Municipal corporation ko kya chahiye? That building, the structure should be stable. Waste disposal you have to do. So earlier municipal corporation ka people used to come to buildings to collect the waste. Now you have to process your own waste. So you have to hire a company. Is your electrical fitting safe? Is your plumbing line proper? Once they have that inspection, in a high rise, every 7 floors, you will need a refugee floor where people can gather in case of fire. Do you have a fire lift in place? Your common areas, fire safety areas like your staircase, fire lift ka area should be free from any objects. So supposingly anything in our building, anything we remove footwear also outside, they send a photo. Keep it inside, otherwise we'll take it away. Now my son, every time he's playing with his cycle, most things he keeps outside only in the lobby. Thankfully, neighbors, cordial relations. So neighbors don't have an objection, but building a security guys come. Yes, sir, take it inside, otherwise we'll take it away. Sometimes I wonder whether actual owner is who. But it is municipal corporation ka instruction. They are concerned about that. If you break the wall and go to your neighbor's house, you have cordial relations. Municipal corporation has no interference in that. So their concern is only about safety, not that developer has given you less area. And by the way, there is violation in every building compared to what was the approved plan. There will be some unauthorized construction. So you have to convince the municipal corporation officers who come for a site visit, convince that please ignore this violation. Once they get appropriately convinced, they will ignore those violations, which is in every construction site. Ye clear hai? All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, congratulations, badai ho, abhinandan. That completes our second chapter, residential status and scope of total. Don't pack your bag, we are not going home. What's the point of Which license? There are 3 certificates: commencement certificate, completion certificate, and OC, occupation certificate. So when the building is fit for human living, then only you get OC. Otherwise, you're not allowed to go and stay in a building. How do they determine what? After they check whether electrical fittings are proper or no, whether building ka structure is safe or no. Construction is poor, so they will not approve the plans. In that also, sometimes they do. We often come across situations of building collapse. And then government says that we will not spare the culprits, etc., etc., etc. As long as the issue is talked about, everyone is talking, one fine day people will forget. Human memory is very short. It is a very new issue. Everyone is talking about the Air India plane crash. Wait for 15 days. There will be another crash. People will forget this. You know, when Air India ka crash took place, people forgot Pahalgam. You know, RCB ka stampede took place, people forgot Pahalgam. This crash took place, people forgot RCB. 2 days before the plane crash, there was one accident, train accident in Mumbai, where some people, 10 people fell down from a local train and killed themselves. But they forgot. Now another incident will make you forget that. Helicopter crash yesterday took place in Uttarakhand, Kedarnath. One bridge also collapsed. Bro, welcome to 2025. We are still 6 months away from that. We just hope that we meet again in the next lecture. It is now that, bro. Okay. So you are, every time you feel, kya life hai, bro, morning we have to attend lectures. Later you will have 6-7 hours lectures per day. Bro, as long as you are alive, you have food, you are privileged. As simple as that. Okay. The plans are approved, but then sometimes they may be safe, may not be safe. Chalo. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, this is the end of our second chapter. We are not in the ongoing class. Every time I look at you, you are only checking your phone. So, what are you checking? Notebook hai niche? No, not during classroom hours, please. It is only a 3-hour class. Control yourself. There will be a time when your coaching will get over and you will be approaching your exams. If you cannot control your urge to check the notifications on this device, then this is your biggest enemy. Ideally, your Wi-Fi, mobile data, everything should be off, preferably phone also switched off, in your cupboard. 1 hour per day, maybe while eating or while multitasking any other activity, you open. At that time, check your notification, and it is my guarantee, challenge and promise to you, there will not be any notification which is going to make a life difference. Because in case it is that kind of an emergency, people won't WhatsApp, they will call you. Your phone is off, they will call your family members. If there is an emergency, by chance there is an emergency, let me remind you, you are not a doctor. This is your biggest enemy, this device. Just imagine, in a 3-hour lecture, you have any idea how many WhatsApp messages I get per day? Per day, it is more than 1500, 2000, 2500. Because across the country, whichever student I have taught online, offline, recorded, they all have my number. And most batches, when I complete, on the last day, I give my number. Only when it is a saved number, I reply to the doubts. Because I can't be replying to random people. And my promise is within 48 hours. Abhi last day ke din, I am allowed or not allowed. Again, this is my first line. Everywhere else I give. I mean, what is the culture or system here? I seriously have got no idea. If it is allowed, I will give. You can ask your doubt. Otherwise, whatever is the system, we will follow organization ka culture. I have promised them I will reply to you in 48 hours. Have patience. 48 hours maximum. Even if I have 2000 messages. So obviously, every day I have to reserve some time only to reply to those doubts. Imagine me doing it in the ongoing class. Imagine me checking notifications while I am doing deemed to be Indian incomes. And what will be your reaction to that? Will it disturb you? Will it not disturb you? Think about it. Keep your phones away, please. Not when the class is going on. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing questions of the chapter. So for the first time in our syllabus, we are actually going to open our book, because in my class, the culture is always going to be books will be used. Acha, aaj hi nahi leke aaya, sir, every day leke aaya. In my class, the culture is always going to be books will be used only and only at the time of solving of questions. Now then, as I am aware that you all have been given a pre-result book, it contains some trial questions. In any case, in pre-result, I was supposed to complete only the first 2 chapters. So, only for this chapter, what is going to happen is, I will be doing a couple of questions from the pre-result trial book that is given to you. The final book which will be given to you once foundation results are out, and once we know whoever is continuing with us, bro, if you have cleared, so you are going to continue also. Continue only, no? I'm assuming. Once we have that, so the final book will be given to you. But usme se bhi some questions I will be doing. I will open that PDF, so you will have the questions. Solving part we will do together. So, couple of questions from this book, the book which you have. अरे 3.18 से कैसे चलेगा bro? PDF में it is this page number. So we have our direct taxes starting on whatever is the page number. You know, at the beginning of the first chapter, you will get meaning and classification of tax, the direct taxes, indirect taxes. We have income tax act. We did charging section 4. We did definition of person, individual, HUF, company firm, all this. Then explanation of individual, HUF, company firm, all that is given to us here. Of course, in the final book, all the chapters will be there. I will show you that PDF also. You all know the meaning of PYAY. Okay. Income is taxable. Chalo. So that basically is going to, this is a format of calculation of income, but only after we finish entity. In the first chapter that is issued to you, the first book that is issued to you, you also have tax rates. But of course, we don't know calculation of income, so we are not doing tax rates. You don't read also anything from here. You will unnecessarily confuse yourself. Don't waste time in doing that. And with this, we will come to our second chapter, residential status. Residential status ke andar they have given us classification. Individual will be resident or non-resident. Resident mein there are 2 further things, ROR, NOR. 182 days, 63, 65. There is something called a deemed resident. And I hope you are not thinking, sir, wow, whatever we did in class, same likha hai book mein yaar. Bad joke. So, come to the question. So, whatever is given here, we have done all of that. In fact, residential status of other assessees. Also, you have these 9 deemed Indian incomes. Questions are starting on page number 3 point. In your book, it is, don't go by that page number because these are temporary page numbers. Ultimately, when we will be doing questions from our final book, that is going to be your main book, and some questions from that I will be doing now. This is the trial book, your pre-result wala book, because we have finished the chapter, we are doing the questions. Question number 2. Okay. From this book, question number 2. Listen. Doing of questions, solving of questions in my classroom will be a system. There is a system. Culture. The culture is this, that somebody from the classroom has to volunteer to read the question loudly for the whole class, and then solving part we will be doing together. So, in 5 seconds, if nobody volunteers, I skip questions of that chapter and go ahead in the syllabus. 5 seconds for someone to volunteer to read the question loudly for the class. 5. Question skip hoga? Yes, please. Good, you didn't wait for the last second ke bomb diffuser banega bada hoga. Lal wire, white wire. Question number 2 first, because one is on a slight difficult concept, so one we will do later.
Brazilian Australian cricket player visits India for 100 days in every financial year. This has been practiced for the past 10 financial years. Find out his residential status for the assessment year 26-27. Would your answer change if the above facts relate to Srinath and Indian citizen who reside in Australia and represents the Australian cricket? What would be your answer if Srinath had visited India for 120 days instead of 100 days every year, including CY 2025?
Okay, so we understand one thing, that the question has got 3 subparts. We will be solving them one by one. See, first question I am doing, I am showing you the presentation also. You always have this important doubt, CA student do, sir, how to present the answers. This is not accounts, where every chapter there is a profit and loss account, there is balance sheet, and there is a fixed format of P&L and balance sheet. You will have to understand, in tax, the presentation of answers will change chapter by chapter. A question on income from salary का presentation is different for house property, different for PGBP. Residential status का answers का presentation different. So chapter wise I will teach you. This is a question on determination of residential status. See, that is known as the required part of the question. Required part of a question in any subject, not just tax, means if you do this, we will give you marks. Do this, take your marks. Do this, take your marks. That is known as the required part. This question is asking you to determine residential status. How to do it? What is the name of the assessee? Always write that first. Mr. Bradley. Part A of the question. Correct? Hai? To show your presentation better than others, also write this. Previous year, 25-26 assessment year, 26-27, and whatever they are asking will be your heading. What are they asking? Determine. So same thing will be our heading. Determination of residential status. Are you understanding? Now, one thing is the law that I have taught you in class. Conditions hai, condition 1, condition 2, condition 3. And second thing is the fact of the assessee, the story of the assessee. Assessee ka story question will give. We have to compare that with the law that we are taught in class and accordingly decide. See, if you don't know the law, that means you are not prepared for the exam. Do you know the law? How to decide residential status? What is the first thing that you check? 182 days. What is the second thing that you check? 63, 65 days. What is the third thing that you check? 120 also. Very good. And there is one more thing that you check. More than 15 lakh, then there is a concept called deemed resident. Because ROR or NOR is our secondary step, no? Correct? So whether you talk about 60 or 182 or 120, our first step is always going to be to check stay during the applicable previous year, 25-26. See, this period ka stay will help me come to a conclusion. As far as our last 4 years or last 7 years, as far as all that is concerned, is that relevant? Yes. But later, first is stay during current year. And now you can go and examine. The question is quite specific with respect to this. He visits every year for a period of 100 days. Ye correct hai? So, that means what is his stay during 25-26? 100 days. Which means this is less than 182. That means condition 1 is dissatisfied. But current year is his stay. Yeah. Previous year 25-26 to be more specific. Is he staying in India for a period of 60 days or more? And last 4 years. See, every year 100 days. That means last 4 years. 400 days. And 400 days becomes greater than or equal to 365. So yes, while he is not fulfilling the condition 1, but is he fulfilling the second condition, 60 days in the current year and 365 days in the last 4 years? Therefore, he is a, by the way, we don't have to fulfill all the conditions. Therefore, he is a resident. Now then, because he is a resident, your question is not over. You will have to now go and check the additional conditions. Are there additional conditions for checking ROR or NOR? What is the first condition? Supposingly, we take that condition. You know, 2 are there, take in any order. 2 out of last 10 years. What does he need to be? He has to be a resident. What do you think? How do you say so? And how do you say so fast? Because if he is doing 63-65 now, he has been doing that 63-65.
Last 6 years.
How many years he has been coming to India? That means he has been doing that for all the years that way. We need only 2 years. Is he doing that since last 10 years? So can I say this condition is satisfied, considering that 60 days and 365 days are fulfilled? And what is the second condition? Greater than or equal to 730 days in last 7 years, 10 years, 7 years, 7 years. What is his stay in India? 700, which is greater than or equal to 730. Is it? Kya? Haan. No. That means, can I say his stay during last 7 years is less than 730? And final conclusion, therefore, Mr. Bradley, you are N1.
last 10 years limit would have been
नहीं पक्का चलो. Is that clear? That was the first part of the question. Second part. अरे second part है. Would your answer change if the above facts relate to Mr. Okay. Whole world is now talking about Hazelwood and Jasprit Bumrah, but ICAI module is still stuck at Bradley and Javagal Srinath. ठीक है? An Indian citizen, but who resides in Australia and represents the Australian cricket team. That means he is still playing for Australia only. Correct? Hai? But other data is same. See, ultimately, your nationality, citizenship is irrelevant. Are you still coming to India for 100 days? And that means, again, are you satisfying 63, 65, yes or no? And therefore, again, you are no. Citizen of India coming for visit. In that case, 60 plus 365 not applicable. Oh. Welcome to direct taxes. Studying direct taxes like getting married. Every time you think you are right, you are wrong. She will find out some mistake. She who? ICAI, no, mother body, therefore referring to ICAI as she. She will find out some mistake. You think you are right. You think every time I think, no, today I did not make any mistake. Why is she sending such messages? I will just go home and show it to her. The moment you go home and talk, how dare you show your finger? Can you not talk politely in front of the judge? The whole argument goes down the gutter. And your tone becomes the point of discussion. So you never consider that you are right. You've definitely made some mistake. For CA students, we very popularly said that if in your accounts ka paper in CA, if your balance sheet tallies, that means there is some mistake you have made. कुछ तो mistake है. हाँ, हमारे यहाँ ऐसा ही होता है. 63, 65, not applicable. Bro, if his income exceeds 15 lakh, 15 lakh, which incomes? Income in India and foreign income if controlled from India, then we can make him resident. But that also at 120. So 120 is any which way not happening. So income ka data not given. Even if we assume that income is exceeding 15 lakh, 120 is not fulfilled. 63, 65 not applicable. And now you can apply deemed resident only if question specifies that that country does not have tax. And there are very few tax haven countries. That way Australia ka law you don't have to know. But Australia is not a tax haven country. So deemed resident cannot be used unless and until question is very clear. What? Income has exceeded 15 lakh, which effectively means he is a non-resident. Understood? And what about the third case? Would your answer be different if Srinath had visited for 120 days instead of 100 days? Will it make a difference? Will 63, 65 be applicable? 63, 65 is not applicable. But if income exceeds rupees 15 lakh. If income exceeds 15 lakh. Which income? Indian income plus foreign income if controlled from India. Correct? Hai? Indian income plus foreign if controlled from India. In that case, even if he is a visitor, in previous year 25-26, in income nahi, sorry, if income in previous year 25-26, what is his stay? 120. Exact 120 also covered. This is where the importance of equal to comes. And last 4 years, It is 120 into 4. Now every year it is 120, no? Which is 365. Therefore, he is resident. Correct? And do we know that these people whom we deem resident because of 15 lakh are always considered as RN? And that answer was also on this assumption. Which assumption? That means, in case the income does not exceed rupees 15 lakh, then 120 also is of no use. Our answer again will become non-resident. You understood all the three parts here? Now, nothing in the answer that we discussed is from something that we have not studied. Every question in your exam, I am not going to leave any concept. Everything will be taught. The expectation is anything that is taught to you in class, when it comes in the form of a question, are you able to apply your knowledge? Application of knowledge is the biggest requirement of tax paper, which is why in tax paper you have to practice more questions than any other subject. If your mentality is that I am going to divide my total available time with the number of subjects, then you will be ending up making a big blunder in tax. For a subject like strategic management, it will get over in 4 lectures, 5 lectures, I'm telling you. 50 marks, direct tax also. But if you compare with strategic management, today should be your last lecture of direct tax. Don't compare number of marks. Don't compare subject ka weightage. Compare the content and the difficulty level. You have to practice everything. If you have solved every question of my book, I take responsibility for your exemption. See, I am responsible for you as long as you listen to me. If you think that you know everything, you don't have to listen to me, then I will not be able to I will not be responsible with respect to anything. Okay? So, please make sure that you practice, and in writing. You die, but you don't stop practicing. See, even if you die, nobody is going to get affected, because you have not added any value to anybody's life except maybe your parents. No one is going to care. See, that day when you die, if at least 5-6 people over and above your immediate family, whenever a person dies, spouse will cry, children will cry, parents if alive will maybe cry, but other than these, siblings may not cry. Not all siblings will. Younger ones will never. Believe me, if you have not affected the lives of at least 5-6 people over and above these immediate family members, you haven't done anything in life. With of late, whatever kind of news that we hear, no, everywhere, I once told my wife that I have something very important to share with you. She's like, what? See, I told her that supposedly I die tomorrow. She's like, what nonsense are you talking? I said, just assume, because you should always know what is one's last wish. What if I die and you don't even know? So I said, supposingly I die, arrange a celebrity funeral for me. वो open truck होता है ना, with that big hoarding at the top of the truck, भाव पूर्ण श्रद्धांजलि, and put it on social media that that teacher who harassed you so much, who never gave you a break, that finally he has died. And if in case you want to have a last glimpse, so this is the timing that we have kept, you can come and have a look at him, and then let the truck go. Anybody wants to walk with the truck, they will walk. ऐसे like proper जो celebrity arrangement होता है, you do that, bro. In case she does that and you get this information, please make sure you come and cry. Even if you don't feel like, you can be like, I said, mask. So you're laughing or crying, you make noise. In Marwadi funerals, no, there are so many people who only make noise with their faces covered. You never know, sometimes they're laughing also. Believe me, it's my personal experience. So you can do that, but otherwise my family does not know once I leave home and I just come back home what I am doing. So if I have to tell them that I have done something substantial in life, so it is only you who can. This is the kind of conversation I have. After more than 10 years of marriage, these are the only conversations that you can actually have in life. Okay, not with my neighbor's wife. Those conversations are far better than this. So bro, please make sure that you practice. You die, but you don't stop practicing, because even when you know the law, if you have not applied or implemented that knowledge correctly in your question, you will not get your marks. The person who is checking your paper, all this I'm discussing because first time we are solving questions. The person who is checking your paper does not know how intelligent you are, does not know you are 10th standard, 12th standard topper, school topper. He or she does not know that foundation mein you got 300 plus, 350 plus, you were Mumbai topper, Maharashtra topper or country topper. Person checking your paper has got no idea about your caliber. The person checking your paper only knows what you have written in the answer paper. And over there, if you did what you did here, sir, 63, 65, whatever you say is correct only, sir. We have blind trust. No, never trust anybody blindly. Never learn to question. Are you understanding what I am trying to say? Never have trust issues also after a point. But at least learn to question. Don't say yes in everything. 63, 65 was not applicable. These mistakes, if you make in your exam, remember the person who is checking your paper wants to give you -1 for every mistake you make. 61 times. कोई मैथ्स आता नहीं क्या? Bro, don't say I took SP. 100 minus 61 is 39. Then whether 39 or 29 or 19, they are all same. 39 and 40 are different in CA exams, but 39 and 29 are same. So you give the opportunity to your paper checker to cancel my marks or deduct my marks. So you are the person who is making the mistakes. Your caliber will not be checked. Your application of knowledge will be. Did you realize the mistake you made? Chalo, let's go to question number 1. Still from the pre-result book. Thereafter, I will be solving some questions from your regular book, which is not with you. PDF mein questions hai, solving part we will do together. Question number 1. If one lecture someone volunteers, no, that is throughout that lecture for reading. Then it's not only for one question. Applicable to all future chapters also. Yes, please.
Or a day right 2026. Assuming that he stayed in the last 4 previous years, preceding previous year 25-26, just 200.
Obviously, question pura hoega, then only you can say no that I have read the question.
It entered into the continuous discharge certificate in respect of joining the Shikha Listener after 6/2025. Date entered into the continuous discharge certificate in respect of signing of the Shikha Listener after 9 December 2025.
Which part of the chapter is this question from? Chapter was a big chapter. No, what part is being tested here? Company ka poem, Mr. Anand. Crew members के case में we are going to exclude the CDC period. So if the CDC was from this date to this date, this much period is not going to be considered as stay in India. With this in mind, let us solve. Acha, starting ka presentation is comfortable. Mr. Anand, PY, AY, determination of residential status. First thing that we are going to check is stay during 25-26. But when we check that, we will exclude, CDC period. So one by one. First, in the month of April, because April mein there was no CDC. And bro, basically residential status ka chapter requires you to count a taxpayer's number of days in India. And while it is not a part of CA course, you still should know April has 30 days. This guy deserves Oscar. So April 30 days. May 31. June 6, 5, because CDC has started on 6. Correct hai? July, August, September, October, November, CDC is going on. CDC is going on. December mein CDC got over when? Be very, very smart in answering. December ka number of days. 15? 15 कैसे आया? Be very clear. This is where you will go wrong if you are not clear. 22. How? Total? I'll explain. Total 31. But we have to exclude the CDC period of 9 days. Correct है? January. January कितना? 31. Feb 28. March total. Bro, listen. In CA exams, calculators are not allowed. They are compulsory.
178.
So, if you are trying to do mental math, 61, 67. Bro, in your exam, if it is 5 plus 3 also, no, you will confirm it is 8 or 7. So, don't do mental maths. Never come to a tax class without a calculator. 178. Now that we know his data, we get some clarity. First condition, 182 not fulfilled. While 182 is not fulfilled, is he fulfilling the condition of 60 days? Yes. And last 4 years, how many days? So is he fulfilling 365 days? Therefore, he is nonsense. (63-65) not applicable to crew members. This question tested knowledge of two things. One, whether you know CDC has to be excluded, and two, after excluding it has to be 182. 63-65 not applicable. Is that clear? Here the 120 is not applicable. That was applicable to visitors. Come on. And also, let me be clear about one more thing. Your deemed residence ka part, unless and until question has data about foreign may he is covered in any tax residency or no, you don't talk about that also. Ye bhi clear hai? So effectively he becomes a non-resident. This was on that crew member wala part. Everyone is with me? Now, as far as your question number 3 and question number 4 are concerned, they require you to have some knowledge of the chapters house, property and salary. So for example, there is an income from house property in the form of rent. Now here we can see that income is 75. I'm not solving the question. I'm making you understand. 75,000 you can see. But house property ka chapter says that from this 75,000 only 70% will be taxable. 30% is not taxable. Now if I tell you that 75,000 minus 30% equal to your taxable part, there will be an element of doubt in your mind. Sir, ye kya 30% hai? Which you won't understand unless you know house property. I can actually skip the rent part and do the rest of the adjustment, but does not make sense. And same thing is this next question, Mr. David ka, where he is having income from salary. Now again, salary income ke andar bhi there is a concept called a standard deduction, that whatever is your salary, usme se 50,000 rupees will be subtracted. If your salary is 10 lakh, you pay tax on 9,50,000. So unless and until you do those chapters of salary and house property, you won't get complete clarity on these questions. So for now, we will not be discussing these questions, but yes, I will take you to another question, that is question number 6. This type of question is the second type of question which will come in your residential status and scope of total income ka chapter. Presentation I will show you, and I will also explain what this question is exactly all about. What is going to happen in this type of question? They will give you a list of incomes. Can you see that with amount? You will have to decide whether this income comes in my scope of total income or it does not come in my scope of total income. What will it depend on? If I am ROR, everything will be included. If I am RNOR, Indian income will be included. Foreign only if control from India. And if I am NR, then only Indian income will be included. And now read the question. We'll discuss what is the question asking, what is the presentation. Chalo, question 6.
The total income in the hands of an individual aged 35 years, being a resident and ordinarily resident but not ordinarily resident, and non-resident for the AY 2627. Assuming that he has exercised the option of paying out of the deferred tax regime provided under Section 115 BAC
This part opted out of the default tax regime. For now, you can ignore. You can say your question is getting over. Here, I'll once again say pre-result ki book ke andar we have different variety of questions. Proper book. Later we'll have proper questions. I will be discussing a couple of questions with that from that proper book. Also, by the way, those having the anxiety of knowing what this is, there are two ways of paying tax. I have told you about that: old regime, new regime. Opted out of default regime means I am in the old regime, because as of now in our country, by default, if you don't say anything, they will put you in new regime. So if you want to go to the old regime, you have to say, sir, I don't want new. So default regime is new. Opted out of default means old. But as I said, it is not relevant. You can ignore. What we have to do is, the presentation is going to be, what is the required part of the question? Tell me that. Calculate the, whatever they are saying will be our heading, computation of total income, which will be a columnar solution. So we will be having particulars, slightly big column, and 3 amount columns. If the taxpayer is ROR, if the taxpayer is RNOR, and NR. Observe the question, are they asking all 3? When they want to ask for more number of marks, no, they will ask all 3. Sometimes they will ask only ROR and NR if they want to ask for less number of marks. It depends on what weightage they want to give. Here, again, smart play is required. Understand how. You need to understand the paper pattern. Paper pattern is 50 marks, direct taxes. 15 marks, that is 30%, will go away in MCQs. So we are left with 35. In that 35, the first question will be compulsory question of 15 marks, which will be mainly PGBP. About 12 marks will be only business profession, and 2-3 marks will be some adjustment from other chapters like capital gain, other sources, tax calculation maybe. But that 15 marks is one question. Now we are left with 20. Kaise 20? 15 MCQ, 15 PGBP. So 20 marks. 20 marks ke liye there will be 3 questions. Question number 2, 3 and 4. 10 marks, 10 marks, 10 marks. So 30 ho gaya, because we have to attempt any 2. So we have 3 questions, attempt any 2. Now they won't be 10 marks ka question. They will be question 2A, 2B, 6 plus 4. 3A, 3B, 5 plus 5. 7 plus 3. That means there will be internal breakup, subparts. One main question will be totally carrying 10 marks. Out of 3, you have to attempt any 2, and none of them will be one full question of 10 marks. There will be a division of 5 plus 5, 6 plus 4, 7 plus 3 highest. This is that part of your question paper which you will exploit, and exploit badly. When an individual question is about 4 marks, 6 marks, 3 marks, 5 marks, it can't be very difficult. It can't be very lengthy. The easiest of chapters will now come in those 20 marks. Earlier, easy chapters like clubbing, set-off, etc., there used to be residential status to a certain extent. They did not ask full-fledged question. Residential status, they still used to ask, because final May it does not come in exam. Syllabus mein hai, but they don't ask. Clubbing, set-off, they ask in exam also. So they used to avoid asking questions on these small topics. But now in that last 20 marks, 6 marks, 4 marks, they can't ask a question on capital gain. They can't ask a question, full-fledged question on salary. So they have to target these small chapters. They will not target, you will target them. You have to be very smart. So you develop the skill of solving these questions. They will become very, very scoring for you. This is that place. A question like this that you have solved. Ye Srinath ka residential status. 3 parts, Bradley, and then 2. Ye supposingly this comes for 6 marks. Do you realize this is a donation which ICAI is giving you? A question that we are now doing, it can easily come for 8 to 10 marks. If they are asking all the 3 columns. Or if they want to keep the weightage 6 marks, they will ask only 2 columns. What we have to do is, in particulars, we will blindly copy what they have given. The name of the income. For example, the first income. Interest on UK development bonds, 50% received in India. Now from this 10,000, first of all, you have understood that I will have to divide this into 2 parts, 5 and 5. If 50% is received in India, outside India, means the other 50% is received in India, half. Understood? In these columns, I will have to write as a tick, tick, tick or cross, cross, cross. Don't say that, sir, taxable. No. You have to write the amounts because they are asking you total income. That means your mental thought process should be from 10,000 ka income, in the first column, how much will be taxable? Let us take an example, 10,000. We know resident, everything comes. So you write 10,000 here, full 10,000. Second column, third column, it will depend on Indian income ke foreign income. Please understand. First column, nature of income doesn't matter. Accordingly, keep on writing the amounts, and finally, when you take the total, you can say how much. You understood or no? So, particulars, even if you don't write for the time being, it is okay because you have to directly copy. Your focus should be solving the question correctly. To the extent possible, focus on, in tax paper, focus on doing this part correct. Particulars may, even if you are copying from the question paper, even if you don't copy everything because you understand interest on UK development bonds, 50% received in India, or you write interest. Ultimately, the person who is checking your paper will check what you have written here in the form of amount. Most paper checkers don't have the time to read your particulars column. You write full amount or you full thing, interest on UK development bonds. You write UK interest. You write only interest. You write paper checker, tu chor, tera khandan chor, kide pade. You write all this, but write 10,000 correctly. He'll take this and give you marks. He does not have time to. Don't actually write it. Sir, we follow everything you say blindly. In tax paper, correct answers matter more than presentation. I am going to make a wild statement which other teachers will disagree and therefore don't confirm with them. In my entire career, right up to CA final, I never used a pencil and a scale to draw any line, even in accounts ka paper. Tax ke paper mein to I can identify these three columns like that only. So if I write 10,000 here or whatever is the answer, we'll check the answer. Example hai. Or maybe 5,000 here, whatever I write here. This is not the final answer, example. It can clearly be seen which column it pertains to. Accounts mein, of course, we have debit side, credit side. I had developed my, my drawing, after India ka map. But I had developed at least that much skill that if I am making a ledger account, a straight line ka you don't get marks. But then some people were like, bro, someone who could not complete 30 marks ka paper, and I did it like this. I could not complete maybe 5 marks ka paper. That made the difference in our overall marks. To hell with your presentation. In fact, bad handwriting and bad presentation is a boon, a vardhan in CA exams because you don't know most things. Good handwriting paper checker comes to know what you have written. Bad handwriting, he won't come to know whatever you have. Say 1 mark. CA exams manipulative. They manipulate results. They don't clear people. But there are some loopholes. You exploit them. I will tell you about all that. You have a lot to learn from me other than tax. I get paid only for direct tax. That is also too less. So kya? Protest kar. Is that clear, everyone? But see, now you tell other teachers, accounts ke teacher ko ke sir ne bola ke aisa. I made lines with pen. But then don't confirm this with accounts teacher because the abusive word that will come out of the mouth of the accounts teacher, I cannot tolerate that. Oh, aega, because their thought process is different. But this is how I was able to complete my paper. So now our target is going to be one by one. We will read the amount, the particulars. We will decide which column, how much to write. Interest on UK development bonds, 50% received in India. One hint I can give you from my side as a goodwill gesture. We will discuss about 5,000 and 5,000 separately. Don't discuss full 10,000 together. First, which 5,000 you want to discuss? Received in India ke outside India? In India wala is easy. In India, Indian income, irrespective of anything, this is going to be taxable for all the three. Correct? Hai? Now let's talk about the other part, which was received outside India, 5,000. When you, first of all, is that Indian income or foreign income? Even when an income is foreign income, when you are in the first column, no, you should not waste your time. Don't waste too much time in the first column. What's your answer? 5,000. This is where you have to start using your brain. Second column, Indian income or foreign income? Foreign income. Is there Indian connection? No, so it won't come. And foreign income here, so we don't see also connection. And this is how one by one we will solve our adjustments. Second, interest from business in Chennai, sorry, income from business in Chennai, 50% is received in India. My hint is again split it into 10,000 and 10,000. Okay. Particulars I am not writing. 20,000. First column, I'll tell you one thing. Don't waste time in the first column. See, time is a very, very precious thing in your exam. You have to be very, very careful while spending time on an individual question. So, can I safely write 20,000 here? So that we discuss the second and third column. 50% is received in India. So one thing everyone knows that 10,000 will come. But we have to talk about the other 10,000. Will that come? Control nahi. Income, business is only in. Today we did a point, business in India. Then it is deemed to be income from business in India. Only exception being purchases or collection of data. So it is Indian income, full 20,000. Now you are getting an idea about solving of question. Very good. Third, long-term capital gain on sale of plant at Germany, but 50% of the gains are received in India. Again, split it into, come on, 20 and 20. What do you think? As far as ROR is concerned, don't split. Full 40 will come. Let's talk about RNOR. Which 20,000 you want to discuss first? Gains received in India, that is the easy part. That will to come. What about the gains outside India? Indian income or foreign income? Foreign income and no control from India. That means that 20,000 will not come. Only the amount received in India will come. Correct hai? Chalo, next. Profits from the income from a business in Germany, which is controlled in Delhi, and 40,000 is received in India. Now, if you are developing skills of doing the question, two things I can tell you. First column, I will not use my brain. And for the second and third column, for 40,000 rupees, I will not use my brain. If at all, I will use my brain for second and third column, 30,000 rupees. Correct hai? First column ka answer, full 70. Second and third column mein at least 40, so I can peacefully write now only. For the 30,000, I will now discuss Indian income or foreign income. Where is the business? Germany. Foreign income. Setup of business is the place of business. So here the business was in India, so deemed to be Indian income irrespective of place of receipt. But here business is in Germany, income is foreign, controlled from India. ROR to decision does not get affected. Second column mein will we take this 30,000? Yes, because even if it is foreign income, it is being controlled from India. And what about the third column? No, because for non-resident, income has to be Indian income, not just control. Correct hai? Chalo. Fifth. Profits from a business in Delhi, but managed entirely from London. Control is outside India. To hell with it, the moment this you read, no question is over here only. What's your answer? Do you find it easy? So by the end, if you do everything correctly, as per current paper pattern, so many adjustments can't come in one question. But this will give you all the varieties. You'll easily get about 6 to 8 marks if you do everything correctly till the end. Next. Interest on debentures in an Indian company received in London. Why? Because Indian company is resident. Any interest paid by resident is always going to be considered as Indian income. Khali non-resident to non-resident we have to see for use in business. But resident is paying. First column, so in any case we don't have to use our brain. But second and third column also it will come. Ye correct hai? Chalo. G. Fees for technical services rendered in India but received in London. FTS. FTS, last income. First, let's talk about the first column. Very easy. How much? 8,000. Second column and third column, please be a little careful before you answer this. You have to be very careful whether it is Indian income or foreign income. Because if it is Indian income, Indian income, then it will be taxable for, come on, everyone. And if it is foreign income, so only first column, because no control from India and all that is not applicable here. Be very careful. Indian income के foreign income. क्या लगता है आपको? What do you think? Don't ask each other, because the person sitting next to you does not know the answer. Or don't give your answer to that person, because still that person does not know whether you are correct. So ultimately, any conversation with me is much better than the person sitting next to you. Ignore that person, useless person. Deemed Indian income. How? What was the rule taught to you with respect for fee, with respect to fees for technical services? If it is in India, nahin. If the receiver has used the services in India, check kar. The place where the receiver is using your service determines kya, whether it is Indian income or foreign income. You understood? The receiver is utilizing your service where? In London is not in India. Oh, sobo log. London is not in India.
But the income.
London India में क्या? हाँ.
The services centered in India, but payment जो है वो London में.
Payment का we don't know.
Income is received in London.
He, the service receiver, has used your services in London. See, if you are a resident, then even if the services are used in London, we are taking tax on foreign income. Please understand, when one non-resident is giving service to another non-resident, and the receiver is receiving the service in London, you can't consider that as Indian income. We don't have to see where is the service giver located. The whole idea behind deemed to be Indian incomes का जो last तीन है ना, interest, royalty, FTS, check all of them. In all the three, the explanation was the user is using where? The client, the customer, or the borrower in case of interest. That person is using my funds or my intangible asset or my service where his place of usage will determine my income का taxability. Okay, check कर लो. Check कर लो. Are you understanding this? हाँ, तो effectively, bro, it is foreign income. It won't be taxable. We have to see his place of using my service. The customer is using my service where is what you should have thought. For example, when it came to this business, for business income in deemed wala list, what was the rule? The place of setup of your business. Then control is not relevant. If business was in Delhi, we did not check anything. If business was in Chennai, we did not check anything, because business ka rule was place of location of business. But for FTS, this income ka, you see, no, FTS ka rule was what? Customer is based where? Customer is using my service where? Customer ka place of usage is the place of income. Still, if I am resident, I will still pay tax. But if I am non-resident, I can't pay tax on services which my customer has used in London. अभी clear है? Customer is using the service in London. Now that is a matter of interpretation. That is one more way in which you can interpret this, that this payment has been received in London. If that is how we interpret it, then what is going to be this line? Chalo, let's change the interpretation. If we change the interpretation to this, to what? Okay, sir, services are not received in London. Services were given in India and iska payment was received in London. Then in that case, the receiver has used my services where? In India. Then it is Indian income. It will be taxable for both. So what you can do in that case, you can write at the bottom an assumption. Kya assumption? Sir, we are assuming that this word is not for services received, this word is for payment received, and payment though received in London, services were rendered in India. Sorry. But please make sure you write a note on that. Is that clear? I am not saying you're wrong. It is how to interpret the line that they have given. Abhi clear hai? Clear hai? Okay. Next. Income from property situated in Nepal and received there. इसमें तो कोई confusion नहीं. This will come only in case of how much? 16,000. Okay. Next. Be very careful. Past foreign untaxed income brought to India during the previous year. No. Any other thing you want to say? Okay, let's do this. What do you think? First column ROR. Sir, ROR में तो I will not use my brain. So I will write wrong. See, if we had to write everything in ROR, why the hell are we even discussing this? We should have first written all the particulars, written all the amounts here, and then discussed only the second and third column. Please use your brain and understand that even when you are blindly copying, you need to have brain for that. For any income to be taxable, it has to be a current year income. What do you mean by taking income from one place to other? Here they have written brought to India. Sometimes they will also use the word remittance. What do you mean by that? I will explain. Supposingly you have earned income. It can be Indian income, foreign income. You can be resident, non-resident. On the basis of scope of total income, you will decide whether it is taxable or not taxable. Ye clear hai? Hello? Whatever be your answer, taxable or not taxable, now income is with you. Supposingly, where do you stay? Chowpatty. You earned income over there. Indian income, it is in your pocket. You will be paying tax because Indian income, but money is in your pocket. Now from your residence, you come to class, Nana Chowk, one flyover away. So have that money is in your pocket. So have you earned that income again? Just because you are taking money from one place to other, does that mean you have earned income again? Nahi na. Nahi. Remittance means that only. And income will be taxable when it is earned. Whichever year it was earned, it's a past income. That year, if it was taxable, I would have paid tax. If it was not taxable, like it is the case here, I will not pay tax. But now, if I take that money from one place to other, that can't contribute to taxation. For an income to be taxable, it has to be current year ka income. You have to pay tax on income earned during the previous year. 10 years ago ka income, you will not be paying tax just because you are bringing the money to India. Bringing money to India is not called earning money. Difference you understand? Taking money from one place to other is not earning money. Is that understood? And for this reason, whenever they ask you a question on remittance, it is going to be 0, even in the ROR ka column. Please make sure it is current year income. Sir, you had told that ROR mein everything is taxable, but it has to be current year income, no? When I say current year, I am talking about the applicable previous year only. Previous year 25-26 mein we got the income of a past. We brought the income, remitted the income of a past. Followed? Next, income from agriculture in Nepal received there and then brought to India. Ek second. This then brought to India will have no effect. By now you have understood that. So my explanation is only till this much, because the statement thereafter is already clear to you. Bringing money will not affect taxability. If it is taxable, we have to decide only with this much. If it is not taxable, we have to decide only with this much. Bringing or not bringing doesn't matter. Now, you guys will react to this by saying, sir, you only have told us that agriculture income is exempt. Have I? Did I? Yes, but I want to add some value in that knowledge. Orally I am adding. Later when I do with you actually the chapter, what if I tell you I have not taught you exempt income? When we enter NTTI, first chapter is exempt income. And in exempt income, the very first section 10(1) is exemption of agriculture. Section 10 ka clause 1. Which goes like this. I am reading out that from the income tax law for you. Rent or revenue from land in India used for agriculture purposes will be exempt. Agriculture income is exempt only if the agriculture was done in India. Foreign agriculture income is not exempt in our country. Agriculture income is exempt. That also we have done orally. In writing we haven't. And by now, are you convinced that if I say something orally also later I will do in writing? What I just said, rent or revenue from land in India used for agriculture purposes, in exempt income chapter I will do in writing. But are you at least clear about the fact that this is going to be taxable? So that means as far as your first column is concerned, how much is that? 18,000. Now, as far as the second and third column is concerned, while it is not exempt because it is foreign agriculture, at the same time, what do you have to say about it?
Foreign income also.
It may be taxable or exempt, that's a separate thing. Indian agriculture or foreign agriculture. In any case, foreign income, forget agriculture, any income, foreign income for them, it can't be taxable. Our NOR if controlled from India, NR, so it can never be taxable. So, when we learn agriculture income, the explanation will be this. Agriculture income is exempt only if in India. Foreign agriculture is taxable. But foreign agriculture can be taxable only for residents. You can non-resident ke liye it won't come in scope only. Or effective knowledge will be like this. See if you understand this. Non-residents will never pay tax on agriculture in India. Indian agriculture is exempt. Foreign does not come in scope. Residents will pay tax on foreign agriculture. Indian will remain exempt. In writing, everything will be done later. For now, are you clear? Next. Income from profession in Kenya, which was set up in India, received there. Once again, do you understand? Bringing the money and spending here will have no effect. That means, question gets over there. Income from profession in Kenya, which was set up in India. Before you give the answer, one explanation I want to give. You know, when income comes from business, foreign business, we see controlled from India, at least for our NOR. For profession, what is the difference between business and profession? Business is sale of goods, profession is services. So instead of saying control, the word changes to setup. So setup word ko you have to consider as controlled from India. And then now answer the question. Is it Indian income or foreign income? Foreign income. Only what is happening in India? Control. Received also where? There. Supposingly money was received in India. Then to Indian income. But this is foreign income. So what about the first column? Still it will come. Foreign income hai to third column is easy. What about the second column? Why 5,000? Because setup means for in the point of profession, the word changes from control to setup. Next, gift on the occasion of wedding. Now, just like, you know, in two questions I told you that will need some knowledge of house property, some knowledge of salary, but we can't solve the full question. Here, we were able to solve all these things. I have also told you that gift comes and forms a part of taxable income in income tax law. However, detailed explanation of gift will happen in income from other sources. So, while right now I am not discussing the details of gift taxability in our country, one thing I can for sure tell you that there is one occasion of life where even income tax has sympathy with you, and therefore this gift has been declared as exempt all throughout, which will be taught to you in income from other sources chapter. Wedding gifts are not taxable. One occasion in life. Is that clear? सबका अपना अपना होता है. Okay, so I have some really close friends with whom I can, friends के साथ में you can have any kind of nonsense conversation. Also, we call each other by names which can't be publicly spoken. The name saved in the phone, if if starts flashing in front of you, can't show the names that you have saved in phones. तो क्या है, मेरा एक friend है मतीन, he is a follower of, तो I tell him कि bro, we don't have tax at the time of wedding. We have one occasion. You are lucky you have 4 occasions. But the point is, only to save tax, the risk is not worth it. I'm telling you, it is difficult to handle. So he one day he came and told me, यार क्या यार, you teach income tax to everyone, कुछ तो idea देना यार tax बचाने का यार. I said open HUF no. No offense, bro. ऐसे friendly conversation with my friends, I am just sharing it with you. And after that he said, bro, don't pull my leg. You know it is not possible. I gave him an advice, but that I will not speak publicly. I gave him an advice with which he can open HUF, but that I can't publicly. वो क्या है, थोड़ा सा awkward हो जाएगा. But then you will say, bro, please hesitate. तो इसलिए let's avoid that altogether. Okay. तो are you clear कि wedding के occasion के ऊपर any gift is not going to be taxable. चलो next, interest on saving bank deposit in State Bank of India, probably the easiest of all. Will it come in all three? Yes. 12,000 each. And finally, income from a business in Russia, controlled in Russia. So first, very easy, and foreign is not controlled from India. So second and third column, it won't come. Now, final task that you have to do is you just have to take the total of these columns. If your total is ready, you may kindly give me zoom खाली amounts देखने के लिए. It won't be visible, the numbers. Now you are doing oral calculations. First column, 2 lakh 46,000. Okay. Second column, एक मिनट, second column and third column में we are having an assumption of whether that, so which one do you want to, what are you comfortable with? nil करके, मतलब we are assuming that services were received in London. हाँ, so what's your answer? 1,59,000 के 9 ले रहे हो, मतलब you have taken that 8,000. Then it is 159. 159 is it? Or alternatively, it could have been 1,67,000 also. 1,24,000, which can also be. Are you clear and comfortable with this? Everyone? Chalo, fantastic. I think most of these questions are now on ये आपका classification of ROR or NOR. I want to still do, क्योंकि residential status के ऊपर we haven't done too many questions. I want to do with you. Now this is that book which will be finally given to you after ये pre-result days का थोड़ा सा you have to adjust. Okay. In this book, all the questions that are there will be issued to you. So this was actually supposed to be, I was instructed that I have to do some questions from the pre-result book also, because that is the actual hard copy with you. Actually, this is that book which will come to you. Iska jo starting ka couple of questions are there, no? Inka solutions are not there. In fact, after this, so all the questions are solved questions only. So you can manage. So starting a couple of questions, and this will practice, we will practice the residential status also together. So let's solve them. This is question number 1 of your proper book. I am not giving you the page number because after formatting the page number will change. So just read the question. Is it visible? Read the question. Read the question.
July 2025 at 2 p.m. He leaves India on 30th December 2025 at 1:45 p.m. Determine residential status for the PY 20.
So do you realize this is some guy who has given us timing data? While practically it is not possible, theoretically if they are giving you the timing, you have to calculate as per timing. And everything is given in the question. Now, ऊपर का presentation you are clear, Mr. X, PY, AY, determination of residential status. First thing that we will check is, ये 24-25 बोला नहीं PY 25-26 only, no? हाँ, stay during 25-26. Start checking. At the beginning of the year, when the year started, where was he? Outside India. April, May, June, he was outside India. He came to India first time when? 1st July. At 2 p.m. He has given you timing. So you can't count 1st July as one full day. How many hours? 10 hours. Okay. 10 hours. Correct hai? Balance July? 24 hours. Days होएगा ना bro. 2nd to 31st. अभी तुमको ये नहीं मालूम ना कि 31 minus 1st July gone. 30 days. Are you comfortable with this? Chalo. Now, from here, rest is still easy. August 31, September 30, October 31, November 30. December में he left. When? 30th December. That means at least as far as December 1 to 29 are concerned, 29 days. And December ka 30th we can't take in days because he left at 1:45 p.m. afternoon. So 30th December started, he was in India. 12 plus 1, 13 plus 45 minutes, 13 hours, 45 minutes. Correct hai? Now if this adds up to 24 hours, we will increase 1 day. Hello? But right now it is coming to 23 hours, 45 minutes. So what do you have in terms of complete days? It is always going to be, hello. It is always going to be so close as far as your direct tax is concerned. Just understand, it was a matter of 15 minutes. Come on. 15 minutes के लिए, और he's like बच गया. That was also meme. एक ऐसा एक meme था. No worries. 15 minutes more would have made it 182 and made him a. But bro, 182 is not being fulfilled because he kept timing. By the way, if he does not keep timing data, then 1st July, 30th December, both will be included. It will become 183. Correct? But is he fulfilling 60 days? But observe the question. I am again and again opening the PDF because you don't have the printout now. Data diya hai. Data is given. Obviously, if he is coming for the first time, the last 4 years ka stay is 0. So 365 not taken place. 120, 365 also we cannot check. And unless and until foreign residential status ka they give anything, your answer will not be about deemed residence. Therefore, non-resident. Understood? Chalo. Question number 2 from regular book. हाँ.
Mr. X in India for 300 days in July 25-26 and stay in preceding years as given here. 24-25 days, 23.
That means last 10 years ka data is given to you. Correct hai? Determine residential status for PY 25-26. Again, what is going to be your first step? Stay during 25-26. After all the presentation part, clearly given to you. 300 days. Therefore, you know, once 182 is crossed, thereafter you're not interested in anything else. But this is done, no? Now we will go and check ROR and RNOR. Additional conditions. For additional conditions, 1. Last 7 years. We will check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Total till year. Is it? How many days? 800, which is greater than or equal to. And what is the second condition? 2 out of last 10 years. True. True or false thing? Satisfied. Satisfied. हाँ हाँ हाँ, मेरे को सब समझता है bro. I have taught thousands like you. 2 out of last 10 years. Now see, individually if you start checking, you can do that. But here is where you have to use your smartness. Try to answer in as minimum time possible. Can I clearly see 300 and 350 here? That means 23, 24 and 21, 22. Am I fulfilling that 182 ka criteria? And therefore, this condition also true. Chalega? Therefore, he is R1.
Thank you.
2 marks, 3 marks, not more than that. Okay? But you know, you don't do the easy things, so you will not be able to solve the difficult ones. Chalo. Actually, most questions hereafter from the main book are solved questions only. But this one I want to do with you. Last question.
For joining his duties in Nigeria. During the previous year 25-26, he comes to India for 176. Determine his residency status for assessment year 25-26 and assessment year 26-27. His total income from Indian sources is 1 lakh. That is interesting. He has no other income.
At least with this 1 lakh, no, we eliminate 120 days and deemed residence. So our focus is only going to be the other part. Very rarely you will see a question where they ask you 2 assessment years. As CA students, you are not required to have that knowledge. But in case they ask, you can't say manipulate. No, you have to assume same law and answer. So if they are asking you both years, which years? They are asking you AY 25-26, which is last year. They are asking you AY 26-27, which is current year, which means PY 24-25 and PY 25-26. You observe carefully. He left India for the first time when? In 24-25, last year. Correct? That means April, May, June, July, August till September he was here. After that he did not come to India till March. But in the second year he came. Matlab as far as 25-26 ka stay is concerned, what is your stay in this year? So this 176 is so clearly given to you. But as far as this year is concerned, we will have to calculate. How to calculate? Starting May he was here. He left on which date? 26 September. So April May we will take 30 days. May 31. June 30. July 31. August 31. 1 second. September May he left on 26th. We'll count 26 because he has not given us hours. So outgoing day will be taken. हाँ तो 26 days gives you 179. अलार्म था 12 बजे. 179 days. Clear है? Everyone? So one thing we are clear as far as both years are concerned, less than 182. Correct? Now if we talk about the last 4 years, so observe the question carefully that he has left India for the first time. Matlab, before this the last year 23-24, full year he was here. In fact that year had 366 days. We need 365 in 4 years. He is fulfilling in this year. And by the way, is this year also in 4 years of this? In fact, all the years he was here only. That means easily we can say that 365 is being fulfilled. Correct? Eh? So therefore, he is a popat. What? Kya? An Indian citizen who is leaving India for the purpose of employment. And second year he is coming as a visitor. 63-65 in both these years not applicable. Therefore he is a welcome to taxation. Understood? Everyone? Sorted? मजा आया? Really? On both occasions of questions on exceptions, you were wrong. Lots and lots of practice will be required, of course, when the proper book will be given. This is the actual main book of our batch. So all these questions are there with solutions. Then at that time, if required, yes, scope of total income ka, if any extra question has to be done, at that time I will be. Go up. Scroll bolna bro. Can you go up? You are like कि my last wish you are fulfilling today only. बोला बोल दो मैम को arrange करने के लिए. हाँ. My next lecture is on Friday, but I will have to discuss whether it is required. So then I will have to start the next chapter. So abhi I don't know. You will be informed. Okay. So fair enough. I will see you guys whenever is my next lecture.